161. 161.
It's time for some new pod number magic.
161.
Sorry, this is a video how to pronounce the number.
161.
This is like some lost shit.
161.
A few weeks ago, I accidentally named 2 episodes in a row, number 161, and pretty much nobody noticed until like a week later when the Pint and the Pageman noticed. And so because of that, then I also numbered last week's episode 161, and this one is also number 161.
So
I don't know.
161 kind of it's 161 season, I guess.
I'm very much not a superstitious person, but I think I am starting to believe in number magic, and I feel like the number 161 has really presented itself to me as being an important number. So I just think, I don't know if we need to keep naming the other problem is like once a bit starts in my head, it's really hard to end it, which is why it was our last episode for like a year. And now I just don't know what to do with something needs to happen with 161 for me to not be trapped in this loop anymore. And no one has really called it out or said anything. I mean, I'm just lost with, I'm grappling with the universe here yet again.
Your concept, really, this podcast is about your battle with the universe. I think that's truly the message that we've been trying to drive home this entire time.
That's
just checking in on some
extreme
numerology
Edgar Wright type of shit.
Yeah, exactly. So 161 energy is an initiator of large works. Highway systems, multi-story buildings, multinational corporations like Blink 155, social structures, the nation. When it requires organizing to bring something into existence, the 161 energy can excel, assuming it wants to do it.
161.
And the resources to accomplish it are available.
161.
Wow.
The number 161 represents an energy of business efficiency and realism.
161.
It resonates with balance and building things, and it tends to be independent. So it's a very punk.
I like that
punk business number.
I like that how you're careful not to speak over the bot that says.
Well, now that I've realized that it's responsible for highway systems and multi-story buildings, I want to make sure that I'm kind of showing respect and deference.
Should we adopt a highway then? Is that what this is leading to?
Oh, that would be cool.
Like somewhere like in Wodonga, this patch of highway is come, it would say on the sign.
Right. Is there like a clever way that we could try to sort of sneak cum into some sort of like, thanks so much to the Cum Society of Canada, Canadian like undertakers of men.
Of masturbating.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what is like, truly, are we not all cum undertakers?
That's true.
It's really our first and last job.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's 161 again. We're still doing. We were worried. People were worried what would happen when we pass 155. But now that we're just doing 161 every week, no one seems to care. And so I just don't really know. You all worried 6 episodes ago, but now you don't seem to care that every episode is 161.
Everyone's. What if we're just actually trapped in a loop, and that's why no one said anything? What if we've Palm Springs ourselves?
Oh yeah! Wow.
Yeah. Right. I'm J.K. Simmons.
I hate J.K. Simmons. I'm just gonna go ahead and say
no one hates J.K. Simmons.
I fucking hate that guy. He sucks so much.
That's like the most. I feel like that's a Josiah opinion from like 4 years ago.
He's like
I feel you're tapping into some old contrary part of yourself that you at least partially shed.
Well, hey, the cops are coming to get you there, Sam.
I know. The 161 energy is too strong.
They thought that your house was a highway because of...
Right, yeah.
Doesn't J.K. Simmons seem like you go to your partner's work Christmas party and he's like some fucking cocky old guy who's like, oh, you like music? Man, you should check out my nephew's band, or just fucking endlessly punishing you, trying to be cool. But you're like, you're just old. Like, stop, just be old and leave me alone, JK.
Except, do you not feel like maybe he would show you his nephew's band and it would be sick?
No
You'd be like, oh, J.K. Simmons has great taste in
There's never
nephew
been
bands.
No nephew's band has ever been good.
I see. I don't think that's true because someone think about it. I mean, someone out there is, maybe without knowing the sort of family structure, someone at some point was maybe Mark Hoppus's uncle, maybe Tom's uncle, and they would tell you think about this era. Think about this era of this band. And J.K. Simmons is accosting you at a holiday party in 1996. And he's talking your ear off, telling you, "Oh, you like punk music, eh?" Because in my mind, that's how he talks.
Wait, who?
Yeah, you like punk music, eh? I'm trying to.
I love the revelation of the podcast. One of many is that you're very good at impressions.
Super good at impressions, right?
I'm serious though. You actually are very good. Maybe not that one, but there are certain ones that you just absolutely nail.
Thanks, man.
I think what it is like I've talked about cousin movies before and how there's just like certain movies that you just couldn't like. To me, Avatar is the ultimate cousin movie because I think of my cousin forcing me to watch it in his home theater setup and kind of hating it, but he was so obsessed with it. And there's a whole bunch of movies that he loves. I think every John Hamm movie is a cousin movie. I'm just trying to catch up with what I said before my theory, but I think similarly, a nephew's band is, sure, to someone they're great, but if an uncle is showing you their nephew's band, you're guaranteed to not like that band.
But is that context, as opposed to content?
Perhaps, but I think context is everything, really.
Interesting. Well, I just want to say, if you're listening to this and you're an uncle, show us your nephew's
Fuck
band.
you.
Let's make sure at Josiah Hughes. Of course, this is a belated birthday present for you.
Thank
but
you
if you
so
didn't get
much.
Josiah anything last week, this week you can get him your nephew's band. And you know what? I think we should open this up to aunts as well, just in the interest of inclusivity. So
Gender
just
parity.
Anyone with exactly, because we're all about gender parity here.
The two genders, uncles and aunts. Now that seems like a good tweet that you could do if you were one of those kind of
true.
accounts. Speaking of my birthday, speaking of my birthday, which was last week, in case anyone forgot, time to start preparing for next week, for next year. I mean, and next week. It's still episode 161, so it's still my birthday. I got to shout out a couple of things have happened. Numerology, pod magic. Earlier this week, we released a exclusive called Animal Podding, which is all about Animal Crossing. That was just the best pun we could think of in the few minutes we had to title it. Not very good, but
that's pretty good. It's pretty good.
In the episode, some Animal Crossing experts, of which I am not, but they include my dear wife Sarah and Emily and Andy from The Nation. They sort of critiqued Mark Hoppus's Animal Crossing Island, and they were, as is often the case with this show, not too many punches were pulled, let's just say.
Right, okay, yeah.
And within hours of the episode coming out, Mark Hoppus logged into Animal Crossing for the first time in months on Twitch and destroyed his entire island. Within hours. Yeah.
Why did you do that?
I didn't do it. It was the others.
What did you do? I feel like you put out like a poisonous energy.
Do you think Mark Hoppus has someone listening to someone Sclusy snitching to him?
At this point, I do. Yeah, I think that just wants to monitor all communication.
I still want to believe that there's some sort of magic happening, 161 energy, just that sort of general magic in the air. But I don't know. The timing was kind of ridiculous.
That's wild. Animal potting. I think that's pretty good. You should give yourself more credit for that.
Thank you. It's not bad. And then also D-Beat Chris, the D-Beatman of the pod, he was on there to show off Crustopia, which is a freaking Animal Crossing complex that he's built, which is honestly like the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. There's like a whole bunch of like tiny, adorable discharge banners all over this little Animal Crossing island. It's really cute. But then I saw Chris that weekend because his wife Lindsay, born on the same day and year as me. I think I've mentioned this before, so happy belated to Lindsay as well. So we met up, socially distanced, we met up.
I love how
And-
you always have. Because I do it too, where I'm like, oh, I saw someone this weekend, distanced, of course.
It's because
You know?
I don't want the scolding energy of those Instagram infographics to enter my IRL sphere. I mean, I
understand that.
I meet people all the time, and I'm probably not perfectly socially distant, but also like don't send me a gradient infographic, please. I don't want that.
Everyone I hang out with exclusively very closely. I'm just touching everyone, breathing on everyone.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. It's
Now
so
I'm getting rock hard thinking about that. No, so we hung out socially distanced, of course. Don't worry.
Yes.
But we actually literally were socially distanced because
I
Lindsay's
mean,
about to have a
I do
baby
believe you.
at any moment, any second. Their baby
Sorry,
almost.
if she wasn't having a baby, would you not have socially distanced, though? I mean, I feel like you're telling on yourself a little bit.
I mean, no, of course, but I was extra careful.
Right, because you're being careful for two now.
Exactly. But we hung out, and this sort of is another Pod Magic thing because you're gonna, if you listen to this entire episode, you'll find out why this is significant. But on the Free Punk Lyrics compilation, Chris contributed the song "No Worship" from his fictional D-beat band War Stuff. And for my birthday, Chris gifted me a one-of-a-kind. There is only one in existence to be worn. He made himself one as well to kind of keep off to the side.
So two of a kind.
There's two of a kind, but he kind of was like, look, it is one of a kind, but just so you know, I have one in my drawer because I keep one of everything I make.
Okay,
I
again,
like,
I
well,
feel
it's
like
a
you're
bit of
describing
a-
something that is two of a kind.
Yeah, it's a bit of a caveat, I think. But but anyways, he gifted me this one of a kind, two of a kind, socially
you.
distanced, of course. This two of a kind. I'm trying to show you it, but I don't think it worked. I
What
sent you the
fucking
image
link
address.
is this?
Here we go. Here we
I
go.
feel like you're
He
gonna
sent me
hack
this two of a kind merch for his D-beat Free Punk Lyrics song, which was No Worship. And I just want to say Free Punk Lyrics is back. And so if you listen to this full episode, you'll learn more. But that was just some more Pod Magic. And I just also want to say 161.
Yo,
And
this
also,
also go ahead.
no, what do you think of the shirt?
The shirt is sick. Like, this shirt is insanely sick. I would request that there be three of a kind for this.
I know. Well, it's because Chris and I like to gift each other one of a kind merch when it's each other's birthday. I made him a Displan one. And it's the same guy that we're forcing to burn a screen for one shirt each time, and he doesn't know anything about the pod.
That's totally fine.
It's really good. Anyways, I don't know. I could come up with a pun if I wanted to, but you win some, you
Zulu some?
yeah, there.
Yeah, all right.
That works.
Sick.
What I want to feel and I am saying what I said all along because I know the things are important to me because life is too short to be long.
Another thing I should mention for Chris, for the sake of Chris, is he is one of many people who is kind of complaining that we've been talking over everything lately. All the intro
Chris.
music, all the covers. People are upset. And I think it's because there's no more awkward getting to know each other. Finally, all these years in, we're just excited to hang out and chat, and we don't really want to listen to music anymore.
I don't
We're
really
past
care.
that.
Yeah, I don't really care about anyone else's experience of this. This is just this is me and Josiah time. If you are listening to this and your name is not Josiah and you're hearing my voice right now, this is not for you.
Exactly.
You are imposing. You are eavesdropping on our special friendship time.
We need to set some boundaries here, and so that's what.
Maybe with the listenership. We've become too friendly, I think.
This is the song that did cause us to set up. This
This
I'm not gonna
actually,
get
this
into
song
it
is
at all.
boundary setting for sure.
But this song is the one that a recent obsessive fan was sort of obsessing over, and I intentionally didn't read the details of what they wanted us to say about it in their 300 tweets because I don't want to.
Well, don't worry, I've got it all in front of me, and I'm
And that
ready
person is our guest this week. So
Yeah. Are you gonna? Man, even today, some of the stuff with the guest, it looks like it was getting a little out of control. Does that all get contextualized in the interview?
Very much not at all.
And should we wait and not contextualize it now?
I think
Because
it's
been
fine. Everything's
very, very fascinating development.
People are so gullible in this world, and they think that I actually would become friends with Nate Ruess. But no, it's all real. It's a fight.
It makes so much more sense that, to be honest, it does make more sense that you would become like enemies on the internet than to just like randomly become friends with someone. So yeah, I buy that.
So the thing about this. Oh, go ahead.
No, please.
What do you do? What say? What I want to know.
I was thinking about how like definitely, especially there was like a couple episodes ago where like the song was sort of only okay, and I think like. I had teed up for you that I was like not in a great mood, and I think you were just sort of being a nice friend, and we ended up just like listening to Counting Crows and The Watchmen and stuff, and like and definitely talking over it. Like it fully had the vibe of like just a hang. And I just want to say, if you didn't appreciate those raw moments of friendship, I don't even know what you come to the podcast for.
Yeah, like why are you here? There's so many.
You're certainly not here for Blink-182 information.
In my fight with Nate today, all these people who are coming to his defense are like, imagine dedicating a podcast to Blink-182, and I just think to myself, if only you knew, you sweet innocent creature. If only you knew. Yeah. This isn't about that. It's about me and Sam. Nothing else.
Exactly. And who wouldn't want to dedicate a podcast to themselves and their friendship with someone that they didn't quite know that well off the top?
I think it's great.
So the song Zulu by the band Blink-182. I wonder what numerology says about 182.
Oh, shit.
How is it taking us this long to get into numerology?
182
doesn't even matter to us. Number. Oh my God! The
maybe
pod
I can.
Is just about faith.
Maybe.
Oh my God! The numerology energy represented by the number 182 resonates with companionship. Wow! Self-reliance, exploration, business, and diplomacy. 182 is about you and me.
I'm just trying to continue the patterns and the format that we've come up with here. I'm just trying to. There we go.
182.
Oh, right, good. Yeah, I want to make sure we're pronouncing it correctly.
182.
The energy tends to be efficient and a team worker. Coexistence and independence intermingle. An example of 182 energy manifested is a well-treated dog on a leash.
182.
May desire the freedom to explore occasionally to investigate something of interest, but generally is perfectly happy to be in companionship with its owners. So
that's a Tom thing.
Yeah, I guess like in this instance, like is one of us the dog or is?
Ooh, that's a fun thing for people to do. Okay, we're lifting the boundary now, and you're allowed to pontificate over which of us is the dog and which of us holds the leash.
I hate that I know the answer to this one.
Well, speaking of whatever you said, I think there was a segue in my brain a couple minutes ago. I don't know what it was, but I will say this. This is a sad one this week. And no matter how we look
sad
at it,
in advance for it too.
It's sad. It's really sad because I know what I was going to say. One day maybe we will have to do episode 182 if I decide to stop naming them all 161, and that'll have to be some sort of big fanfare for that one. But what we will never do again, no matter what, I don't think, is we will never do after this week another Blink-182 song that is a really fast skate punk song with Scott Raynor drumming.
That's fucked up, man.
That's honestly when I thought of that, I felt a pang of sadness.
Because sometimes like you let me know. I think the guest interview is unsurprisingly fairly robust, and sometimes when that happens, it's like okay, well let's not make this a 4-hour episode, and then knowing that there's like a very minor time crunch, we have given ourselves a huge amount of time because of this special moment, this sort of pushing away, like this sort of drifting away on the barge of the funeral barge into the ocean. I don't know, man. It's crazy. This is it. Like this will never Like if there's new songs, this era of this band is over for us now. That's fucking crazy. That is really quite a strange thing to think about at the end of such a long road.
I know. Like, it's because now anytime they try to revisit this it's going to be completely manufactured. And, like, we definitely do get to talk about generational divide still, and I think there might be a couple skate punk covers, but there's never going to be this degree of Blink-182 magic ever again.
This is the, like, sort of similar to having episodes where we've wrapped up an album. This is fully wrapping up
an idea.
Wrapping up the era of this band that I think you and I
182.
Obviously have proven to be sort of the most
182.
attached to. And that's
182.
That's crazy. So, Josiah, how do you feel about the song Zulu?
I think the worst part is I think it's a little bit of a mediocre song, kind of.
Right. We're sending off this beautiful era of the band, into the sunset and not necessarily loving exactly the barge that we're traveling upon.
Is that how you feel too?
It's fine.
I think I'm going to probably flip and end up loving it. There is a lot that I like about it, but I think having listened to it like 6 times now,
yeah,
and what our guest says this week too, there is something about it where like you kind of just immediately forget the melodies and how it goes.
Yeah, like I did the same thing. I listened to it like a handful of times, half an hour ago, and every time the verse would come back, I was like, oh right, like the verse. I feel like there's elements here that will come to define this like definitively great era of the band, but there's still like some just like uninspired kind of melodic choices, which is like perfectly reasonable for just a band of their stature in 1996 to be writing songs like this, but it isn't like that sort of elevated god tier skate punk that we eventually get to. It's all of the like elements are kind of there. Just like the careening Scott Rayner drumming, like where you just truly feel like the song is just going to fall completely the fuck apart. There's like fun guitar stuff. I kind of think the chorus, despite like, I'm not really sure generally about it, like being called Zulu and the start my own African tribe line, like how that has aged.
It's not like, the best.
No, I suspect that we will have to sort of address that. But like the chorus is sort of like a pretty good, but then you look at the rest of the track listing on They Came From Uranus and you're like, up against Waggy? Up against Rectum? Do we like Rectum? I actually can't.
Yeah, Rectum is sick.
Yeah, like there's a reason why this is the third song on this release.
But a few things to counter that, even though I agree with you, I think the mediocrity of it is something that's special about it too. Like it's just like really fast, powerful skate punk with a very unique lead guitar riff still too. Like it still sounds like it's that weird 90s pop punk lead that still sounds like pirate music somehow that I haven't been able to figure out why some guitar leads in these songs, or they sound like Riverdance or something. Like it's just Gob does it all the time too, where there's something about the guitar leads where they're just like, they're just so silly and childish that they sound to me like pirate music. And I think it's good for the guitar to sound like pirate music and less the vocals to sound like that when it comes to pop punk, maybe.
Is that why you don't love Ailstorm or whatever the other pirate metal bands are?
What is that, like Fin Troll? Is that one? Are they pirate?
No, Fin Troll like dresses trolls.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, are you not aware of like the pirate metal? This seems like something that would really bother you.
Yeah, I mean, probably I just have intentionally pushed it out of my brain.
No, there's like an entire, in the same way there's Viking metal and blah, blah, blah. There's like an entire genre of just like kind of extremely only okay sort of power metal that is just like, we sail the seas and fuck a mermaid. And there's like, Running Wild, yeah. Oh man, these fucking bands are bad as shit. For some reason, Bandcamp wrote about this in 2019. This feels like some extremely like 2015 shit.
Yeah, it's like a This Exists episode from 2015, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'd look back on it and be like, well, got to get those views somehow.
You're like, you've heard of fantasy metal, but what about pirate metal? Today,
That'd be a great stutter edit.
we should add stutter edits to this. Is that what they're called?
Oh yeah, I guess, right?
That'd be cool.
Feels descriptive.
If instead of an unedited 6-hour ramble, if there was a few quick stutter edits in here too.
But to make it longer, right? Where it's like, you don't like J.K. Simmons? What? Like just adding seconds, But eventually over the duration of 3 hours, it definitely would add like 5 minutes worth of just like stuttering shock.
Yeah, but I think
landlubber's guide to pirate metal. Like, doesn't that phrase just make you want to eat a fucking gun?
Pirate shit is so bad, but pirating things is cool.
Ooh, damn, that's complicated. The world is nuanced like that.
But I do think when there's something that is so great, it's almost comforting that it's mediocre in a sense. Like, it reminds me of the people who were complaining that new Blink songs, they were trying to describe them and they were saying that they're too anthemic, and we were kind of making fun of them. But I kind of get it too. Like, this is just kind of like a lunch. This song is just like lunch or something. It's just kind of like it's just there. It's just getting you through, and that's almost in a sense makes it even sadder that we have to say goodbye to this era, because we're just like, it's probably someone's favorite song, but for most people it's just like something that we all took for granted.
I kind of feel like the person that we had to block was their take that it was the best song, because I think this is like a type of person who would say that Zulu is their favorite song, and it's like, I'm sorry, it's not.
Yeah, it's like you're being pretentious without realizing that the correct pretentious answer is, of course, to say that the Enema of the State demo is the best Blink-182 material.
Yeah, like there's a deeper, truer, more pretentious answer to that question.
Yeah, exactly. But I think also, like, this EP is secretly very sick. And then it got me thinking of how, like, in the 90s, there was a time when you could have a 7-inch that was your favorite thing, instead of it just being that your band doesn't have enough rich parents to pay for you to press an LP.
Right? Yeah,
that's what a 7-inch is now.
But can you just imagine, like, if you had this as like a CD in your car, the Camry that you borrowed from your parents or whatever. Like, this is a third song on a sort of little EP that also has Rectum and Waggy. You're like, fucking great. Like, to me, it doesn't. Not everything has to be Waggy.
It's true.
Like, you want some variety. Like, not everything can be the perfect anthem. And even like in the skate punk era, like, I wish everything sounded like Pathetic. But if everything sounded like Pathetic, then you
wouldn't appreciate Pathetic as much.
Exactly, right? Like, you need those other sounds to, like, sort of fill things in. And so I think this really successfully does that. And you're right. I mean, this EP is quite sick, and it looks so good.
The album art is so cool. I wonder who the guy is with posing from the alien.
Let's try to get exclusive with the guy.
It's so, like, saturated.
And who's in the alien costume?
Yeah, it looks like a collage because it's so saturated and 90s looking, but I'm sure it's not a collage.
And also that font, I wish I could remember the name of that font, but I for sure like made stuff in the fourth grade using the Blink font here, where like the dash is sort of like a stop sign looking.
Totally. I just did the grossest burp. I'm really sorry. I don't know if it came through.
I didn't hear it. Can you do it again?
It was like I was trying to hide it, and then it was very like demonic and guttural. And I guess I could have gotten away with it, but I just told you about it. So,
well, again, it's friendship,
Yeah, it's all very like snowboard magazine aesthetic.
Yeah, totally. It's just like it's so clear. It's so clear that font was never going to make it out of like one single release. Like, it's so shitty. It's so funky. What the fuck? I feel like I could remember, like, it's not quite like Bedrock, but it's something. It's in the Bedrock family of like funky 90s fonts. It's for like edgy youngs.
It reminds me of Electric Circus, kind of.
Ooh, yeah.
Like, it is ironic that they were fighting with the Irish quote techno band Blink when they share so much aesthetically with techno that they maybe don't even realize.
Well, the other thing is like the color scheme here, right? The sort of like neon green, neon blue, like it looks sick. And then like it is mostly like the way you see it. Like I'm just looking at the Genius page right now, and like I feel like you mostly see these scans of it where it's super washed out, but at the top of the page there's like a proper, you know, it almost looks like the original sort of, you know, PNG artwork, and it pops like it's really neon.
Oh, it's so cool. I'm trying to see like it's weird that they've kept this in print for so long, but I guess these old cargo releases were just like, it's kind of unclear who owns them, or maybe it wasn't, you know, there's not so many people fighting over the rights, so they just kept it in print forever. But I do feel like I don't think I had the 7-inch, but I feel like everyone I knew had it.
Yeah, I never had this. I don't think I knew anyone with it. This just sort of existed in the back of my mind, and until we started doing this, I don't think I had really thought about it too much.
We've never looked at the back cover before. I just found it on Discogs, and the original pressing of this is $45. So even though it's been reprinted a bunch, it's still, I guess, worth a little bit because the original is limited to 300 copies.
Oh shit!
But they made it look like movie credits on the back: a grilled cheese release, a cargo production, a proctologist's dream. And they all have nicknames. Tom, Dr. Jellyfinger DeLong. Scott, is that your stick, Rayner? Mark, Speed Bumps, Hoppus.
I think that's a cocaine joke.
Whoa, you think?
I don't know.
Damn.
You know, I don't. Dr. Jellyfinger just sort of feels like a you know, finger in your butt joke. Is that your stick? Is like the most extremely unfunny like drummer joke. And then Speed Bumps, like to me that's, you know, maybe saying there was a little you know, little action happening in the studio to give this song the speed that it needed, you know?
Well, I've just looked up Speed Bump on Urban Dictionary, and the top result is the victim of a drive-by shooting. So I don't know if that's what it's a reference to, or it could be a piercing on the top of a cock, or
do we know if Hoppus is bepierced upon his dong?
I feel like he would be. He definitely was like very prominent nipple piercings, right?
I can't remember.
I feel like he really used to be more of a peacocking bro, and now he's just tried to like become just sort of a Funko Pop Disney guy in his old age, which, you know, fair retirement plan. We all got to figure out what to do, but it's interesting. He used to seem like kind of like a guy who would have the nickname Beer Wolf or something. But he's really calmed down.
I'm trying to look. I'm looking at a lot of topless photos, but I'm not seeing any nipple piercings.
I thought he did, but maybe I've forgotten.
No photos of his dick just immediately available on Google image search.
He does show his dick in the M&M's video. We did talk about this already, but you can't tell if the tip of the dick is pierced.
Right, there's no like sort of glint of like the sunlight reflecting.
I scrolled down long enough to see that Speed Bump is listed as an abnormally large line of cocaine. I mean, yeah, what else would it be in this context?
Yeah, like listen, he hasn't been murdered in a drive-by shooting. Yeah, that's got to be cocaine.
Well, I've searched.
Maybe that's.
There is a thing from 2001 Alternative Press I just found. I think they're really joking around though, but they're talking about whether or not if you could take any drug with the promise it would do you no harm, which one would you take and why? This is Alternative Press opening an interview.
Yeah.
2001. Mark Hoppus, ecstasy, ecstasy, ecstasy. Tom DeLong, there's a reason they call it ecstasy. They don't call it like semi-ecstasy. Mark, yeah, they don't call it bummed out. Have you taken it before? Mark, yes.
True.
Tom, maybe I'd do crystal meth too, because then I'd lose weight and be all hyper. Mark, I've never tried cocaine, but I would love to. The only thing that scares me about cocaine is death. I would totally do coke if I knew I would be okay. If nothing bad was going to happen, I'd do heroin, adds Tom. Everyone says heroin is the best thing in the world. I feel like they're talking kind of like children who have never done drugs before.
Yeah. Just naming all the drugs.
Like,
I would try weed.
I heard that heroin is kind of like a requiem for a dream, basically, or something.
Yeah, exactly. I heard that once you do it, you have to go ass to ass.
I mean, Mark did say
Have you ever done?
Mark says speed's no good. Speed is a sketchy high. So maybe he had. So maybe that's. You can snort speed, right?
I think so.
I hate when we have to talk about drugs and then I feel like we're really telling ourselves.
It's so embarrassing. Yeah. Listen, you're friends with Montreal bike couriers. Ask them.
I've probably done speed by accident just by sitting beside them somewhere.
Exactly. As soon as you moved to Montreal, it was just like a constant contact time.
I have drank a Guru energy drink before, so I think I know kind of what it feels like. Did you guys ever
that's
do
some good shit?
Did you guys ever do mushrooms or acid? And Tom says, I've done mushrooms. I've never done acid, but I really want to. I want to try it at least once. I just want to go out in the desert and take some. Wow. Tom really predicting the entirety of sort of the 40-year-old Los Angeles hipster, I think.
Yeah, but this is, proto vibes.
Just want to go to Joshua Tree and listen to the Dead.
Yeah, just vibe out.
Even here, Mark talks about doing acid by accident. And that's, of course, the fighting the gravity.
Wow. My old band, of all things, was just about to start playing, and right then the acid hit me. I threw my bass down and ran 5 miles into the desert. Just kept running. Man, that would be a better song. Like, I feel like that experience should have resulted in more better material.
Then they say, I think some people perceive Blink as being sober, and Mark says, we're not straight edge. We just don't talk about it. I mean, we've all gotten high before. We've all drunk on tour, experimented with different drugs, but we don't talk about it. Tom, I used to drink a lot of beer, but I was getting fat as can be. Now that we've had a little success, I can afford to drink wine. Wine is kind of my thing. What kind of wine? Mark, Merlot. Tom, I love Cabernet. That's how punk we are. I love them so much.
Wow. I also, it is interesting to think that, this band did, unless I'm wrong, they kind of never make excess or substances really a part of their thing. And I think a lot of other bands of this era were about drinking and we were so drunk and
Yeah, that's true. They kind of do have at least outwardly a more healthy relationship with it, where they're like, yeah, I drink sometimes, but it's kind of chill or whatever. Later on, if you scroll down, it's sign my boob or sign my ass? And Mark says, boob, definitely. Ass could go either way. And Tom replies, yeah, the likelihood of finding a poop nugget on a boob is substantially lower. Mark, totally, a boob is just a boob, but a butt, if you have to pull down pants, and you could find sweaty, pooped up G-string panties. Tom, the worst thing in the world is shit, as shit comes out of the butt. They're just doing the pod, really.
Yeah, if you were to take that phrase, the worst thing in the world is shit, and shit comes out of the butt, and post that from one of the no context accounts, I'd be like, yeah, that seems like something one of us would have said for sure.
Definitely, that's probably on my LinkedIn, to be honest.
Also, what a sign of privilege to think that the worst thing in the world is shit. Truly.
No, I think those who are suffering would probably agree with you.
Those who are suffering from shit.
People who are suffering for other reasons would be like, at least I'm not surrounded by human shit, really.
It's true, yeah. I mean, it also feels like sort of shades of a really an evolved sort of Biff Tannen, manure, I hate manure. Just the idea of sort of defining part of your personality by something that is unique to me is I truly hate shit. Shit comes out of the butt. Tom with the facts.
They're not wrong. But yeah, back to this back cover of the 7-inch. I also noticed they wanted to fill in another line to fix the layout, or they just wanted to add it. But for some reason, Blink-182 is also credited for naked photos of your mom on the back of this record.
That's funny.
So that's pretty good. And then there's all the record labels filmed in glorious Procto Vision. It says sort of that's exactly the oscilloscope logo, I think.
Yeah,
also.
totally.
Maybe that was stolen from here.
Yeah,
and then
MCA probably sued them. Maybe
I don't know why they insisted on putting the disabled logo on everything, but it does say handicapped, no adult supervision ever on the back of was that, I think that was like maybe going to be their production company or something before they changed it to
really
like,
worked out, really dodged a bullet there.
yeah, good idea. To
Someone
not
was
do
like,
that.
don't do that.
But man, they look cool on the back of this record.
They look like, how could you buy this and not be like, this is the coolest band? Once there are podcasts, I will definitely start one about this band.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they look so fucking cool. Imagine being this cool. Like, personally, I cannot.
I'm looking at the font up close, and you know what I think? I think it looks like I'm just going to check. I think this is the Batman Forever font.
Oh, yeah. It totally is.
That's pretty cool. Same year also. Big font that year.
Damn. Do you think Batman Forever... Batman Forever was a Joel Schumacher one, right?
Yeah.
Do you think... Well, I guess we'll never be able to get old Joel Shoes on the pod to explain if this was supposed to be an homage.
Although when I type Blink-182 into dafont.com on the Batman Forever font, actually, maybe the song titles work with it. This is just really a waste of time, this episode.
No, this is important.
No, I was wrong. It's not the same. It's close, though. It's definitely something.
Same family, yeah. Well,
yeah, same...
Maybe you're right. Electric Circus is sort of...
What a beautiful record. Sometimes I look at records like this and I'm like, I should start buying vinyls again.
Yeah. Did you bring any with you when you moved?
I have there's 3 records that are like either my friends' bands or like, actually it is just like friends' bands, but like really important ones. And then I kept some of my own merch, like maybe 2 copies of each release. So that's it. The rest... fucking garbage can.
Damn.
Well, actually, I sold them all to a record store. But let's talk. Where are we at right now? Should we do? We're talking about how much we love the boys. It's our last time to spend with these boys. Let's watch them play it live a couple times.
Oh, let's watch the boys play.
So this is 1995, uploaded by Rad as Hell.
That's old news, buddy.
Whoa. Mark can really slap.
I'll tell you guys that 7 seconds is coming into account.
It's damn right.
These guys are fucking rad. This song's new.
No one cares.
It's called Zulu.
Does anyone really like 7 seconds that much?
And it's for you to dance to.
Apparently not wherever this is. You okay?
I mean,
You need to come Undertaker soon?
The thing people love about this podcast is for us to fawn over this era and be so earnest about how much we love it. And this is the last chance, and I don't know how to put it into words.
I mean, the good thing is these videos will still exist. Like, you and I could just hang out like on Zoom, and
That's true.
watch
Privately.
like in the 90s.
His drumming is just
God,
like,
it's
it
so
seems
fucking good.
fake.
Yeah.
It seems fake. It does kind of seem like his technique is different than most punk drummers. Like, it's more fluid or something.
He also makes it look so easy.
Yeah, he looks like he's just kind of like wiggling his arms a little bit.
Yeah, like whereas like Travis is all about like the kind of performance of effort.
Yeah.
Like Scott just looks so bored playing so fucking fast, like those fills. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like it's
Also,
just
Scott
like a...
playing
Oh, is he playing what?
is he playing double kick?
It kind of seems like
Is
it,
that
hey?
how he's actually getting? Because if you watch his left foot, it's like moving way too much while he's playing the hi-hat too.
Yeah, that's true. Damn.
Right? Like,
I feel like people were really like unkind to the double kick for so long, but maybe it's time to bring it back. Maybe it's time to appreciate the double kick for how sick it is.
Bring back double kick in like skate punk because I feel like generally just people like like with one. Oh, look at they're sharing their jug.
I want to hear what he says too. But I feel like people were like all about being like, yeah, I don't fuck with a double kick. I'm not a prog drummer. I'm not in a metal band. But it's like maybe we should bring it back because it sounds sick. I mean,
that sounded very good. So yeah,
the main problem is that
a pop punk drummer, buy yourself a double kick pedal.
The main problem I think
for it
is that sound guys always like mic the kick so badly so that you just hear if a sound guy's like trying too hard, you hear this like the click of the mechanism instead of the actual drum being hit. Totally. So that's what I think people associate double kicks with. But if you mic it properly and just make it go and just hit it double every time, that's sick. Or just like hit it and just do like 16th notes on the double kick. That would be so cool. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Just like it's just endlessly. I'm into it. Okay, let's watch him share the jug and hear what Tom said with the merge.
Going to blend it.
The jug is so alpha.
We got t-shirts, CDs, sweatshirts, and
Scott-
fucking girl shirts and support cups, fucking probomatics,
We got Wonder Bros.
vacuum cleaners.
Hey,
Got
if anybody
food.
has a kind heart, we really need a place to stay tonight because we're poor. We can't afford a hotel. And we promise not to masturbate on any of your parents' towels.
We do have a problem with sleep pumping.
Yeah, we do sleep pump, but we won't jack off on your parents' towels.
Imagine Blink-182 asking for a place to crash.
Yeah, they're broke. And they sleep pump, but they won't jack off in your parents' house. That's funny. That's funny shit.
That's so funny. I feel like they would be they would be the perfect band to stay over at your house because they're not like so sketchy. They're just like little suburban brats. Like I feel like they would roll up. They would have their sleeping bag rolled up instantly the next morning, and they'd be ready to go for breakfast. We haven't really talked enough about that, like the etiquette of. I mean, there was like a good 2 years where we would let bands stay at our house, and it was definitely a mixed bag of behaviors for sure.
Yeah, not all. Not everyone is like house trained. I think.
But I feel like Blink-182 in this era would have been they would just like stay up late watching MTV with you and like shooting the shit and eating pizza and giggling, and then you'd have like an inside joke with them forever.
Yeah, totally. They'd put it in the liner notes of this record. You'd be like, oh, that's cool.
So
I just sort of can't get over the idea that only Mark brings water on stage and like knows he has to share it with Scott. Like that Scott, Mark is a jug king, and then Scott kind of has to come around the drums to like drink from Mark's jug.
The only reason I hope that we can have a live show again one day is so that we can share from a big 4-liter water jug.
Oh. It feels like that'll be like, it's like the like Obama pretending to drink the Flint water, where like you and I will share the jug and be like, the virus is over. Look at us jug sharing.
Yeah, like everyone will look and you'll be pretending to swig from the jug, but you have your thumb over it. So yeah,
totally. I'm like, God damn it.
Okay, this is Zulu live in Montreal.
Oh, we've watched stuff from this show before, right?
Yeah. They seem pretty popular at this point. Nice warm crackle of the VHS.
Is this? Do we know what year this is from?
You want like one or two more?
Whoa, it's an encore?
Wow, thanks a lot, you guys. I can't even tell you how much I fucking love Canada right
96.
now. This one, yeah.
It's from 96, a year later.
Bottled water.
Okay, this one.
Sell out.
This is a year later?
Yeah. Oh. I love the first hit of the song. Bah! Doesn't it feel so good to just hit a chord with the drums at the same time?
Yeah. Oh, fuck, man. I feel like this works as an encore because it's just like so fast, and so they're obviously going to play like a bit, like they'll play Eminem's or Carousel or something as the actual last song, but just sort of coming back out to like just get the energy up. Like clearly people are losing their shit.
Yeah,
they look cool. Tom's got the bleached hair.
a stopping part where you sing along together too.
Oh.
Look at the pit going off,
People are
too.
going buck wild in the pit.
This makes me want to get a ringer tee and dye my hair blonde again.
There you go, do it. Is your hair, are you fully back to your
Yeah, back to my
natural
roots.
sandy roots?
I am. I think Mark's wearing a 7 Seconds shirt in this, too. They love 7 Seconds so much. But, like, I don't think I've ever met someone who actually likes 7 Seconds.
Yeah, it seems like one of those things that you like pretend to like at a certain sort of stage in your life, and then you can move past it. Maybe Mark's just moved past pretending to like 7 Seconds.
Maybe 7 Seconds was like an industry plant in the Revelation Records era.
I just think that 7 Seconds songs is all kind of sounding like this, honestly, where you're like, this is cool, but like it's not the best of this thing, and I won't return here.
Right.
Also, one of those bands that I think really like was helped by having a sort of like logo that looked good on a T-shirt.
It's a good logo.
It's like overly represented in merchandise.
I don't think they were... Okay, honestly, in that year, they've gotten way tighter playing it. And I still love the more slops version as well. But there's no denying that they like...
More slops?
Yeah, some more slops. It was more slops.
No, I mean, I didn't want to let it slip by because I thought it was such an exciting innovation in language.
I mean, but I don't even think in the slops version they were doing the stops. They weren't doing the stops when slops, were they? When they sort of stopped and sang along.
The slops was very stop. It was stopless, right?
I
we
think
also
so.
talked over it. This is why people hate it.
And then I rewinded it and said, let's listen to what they have to say, and then we still kept talking. So that's, you know what? It's because this podcast is about us and it's for us. It's for us by us. This podcast is FUBU.
We're the first people to say that, right?
Yeah, I think we just coined a new phrase. Okay, let's get into
sick.
these.
Good for us.
Speaking of being problematic, let's get into these lyrics, which I do think are really funny.
Must we?
They remind me the fact that they're like problematic, but also problematic in a way that serves kind of a joke and makes them funnier, reminds me of one of my best friend's lyrics. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to put him on blast, but I have a friend who used to write lyrics like this, where it's like they haven't aged great, some of them, but they're so clever still. Like I don't know. I love the idea of like.
Are you talking about Nate? Are you talking about Nate right now?
I'm talking about no. He's not my friend. I can't stand Nate.
All those like racist format lyrics.
No, but the idea of like being a suburban San Diego kid and just wanting to leave so much that you decide you're going to go start your own African tribe, like definitely a lot of people just took a big sip of coconut water or something and spat it out while hearing that. But I do feel like in the context of being a suburban 90s brat, it is still kind of funny.
Yeah, it's also like as sort of fucked up things that this band has said that we've had to sort of been forced to spend like 3 hours dissecting and talking about and letting everyone know that we're not bad. This is like fairly benign. It's just kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Like there's no like malice in this at all.
Yeah. I mean, I do think, naming it Zulu after an actual group of people in Africa is like, you're already kind of like, okay, this probably is not so good to be celebrating for 3 hours.
What's the deal with like Zulu Records? Like isn't that like a record store in Vancouver? Isn't that like kind of the cool record store, like the Rotate?
Yeah, that's
Vancouver?
the one. I don't know. What's the cool one in? Is that the cool one in Toronto? Zulu is like
I guess, yeah.
Zulu is the big survivor. I was always more of a scratch man myself, but Zulu was definitely like the cooler one. I feel like I associate them with like Destroyer and those kind of like hip Vancouver indie things of a certain era.
Same.
And I used to go there to get used CDs all the time because that's how fucking old we are. It's like to learn about music, you'd have to just like hope that you could get a CD of it. But they did have a really good used CD section. And when I was like before anyone knew who Sufjan was, when it was like just the Michigan album had just come out, and I think got Best New Music, but like it wasn't really like Sufjan wasn't a household name yet. But I remember going into Zulu and buying No Pads, No Helmets, Just Balls by Simple Plan from the UCD section. And like the guy working there was so snooty to me. But then I was like, hey, I was also wondering, do you guys have the new Sufjan Stevens record? And he was like, oh, sorry, who is that? I don't know who that is. And I was like, oh, really?
Shit.
And that kind of was like a pretty defining moment in my brain. I think some things stitched together to know that you could be a snob and also buy Simple Plan CD from the
Damn,
CD section.
this is that feels like a bit of a Pod Origins type story, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I also used to go to Zulu Records all the time to, like, even later on, they kept the UCD thing going for so long that I would just bring in all of the, like, I don't know if you ever had hundreds of promo CDs from working in the biz, but I would always have, like, piles of shit and they would always, like, scribble out the barcode so you couldn't resell them, but I don't know. I would just bring them in anyways, and then I'd always have like hundreds of dollars of credit for vinyls.
Here's what I don't get is because they do the thing where they'd like hole punch the barcode or whatever. I sold every one of those things.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Rotate didn't do used CDs, so I would sell them at Sonic Boom, and their policy was literally they'd buy everything, and so sometimes if it was an especially shitty promo, you got like a quarter for it, but like mostly it was pretty D's. And like, what was the point? Like, were you really not supposed to sell those?
I know, or like maybe it's so that you can't return it to you take it, you shrink wrap it at home and then take it into HMV.
Well, like, you wouldn't have to shrink wrap it because of course HMV
this Gruff
had
Ruess CD. I already own it actually. So can you take it back?
Yeah.
What an era of time. I mean, I definitely like built my record collection from trading all that shit in. Because when you got a good thing, you would get like $4 for it or whatever credit. Man,
I guess I understand the principle of it.
I feel like a senior citizen right now.
I know, but I guess if you were a band at that time and you're like, okay, we sent this in for you to review, you maybe didn't even review it. Maybe if you did, you called it shitty, and then you sold it for like $3, and then someone who might have actually bought it just bought the thing that we sent you for free to shit on.
Yeah.
I can kind of understand in retrospect how that wouldn't feel great.
Yeah, the lesson is people in bands are fucking dumb as hell. That's the
exactly. Also, like the places where you and I wrote didn't, and I believe continue to not pay for CD reviews. So like the way that you basically got paid was flipping them for money to buy better records.
Yeah, everyone was like, yeah, that's just exactly it. Like everyone was super down with that. It was fine.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand why no one has gotten mad at Zulu Records yet. Maybe it is fine to be called Zulu Records.
Is it? But it is like, I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. Like I don't really know anything about like the Zulu people, but like, isn't it kind of weird? Like, wouldn't it just be like calling your, like, I don't know if you had a record, is it just because it's so distant? Like, I guess, okay, so it's like South African, so it's so far, but like, can you imagine if there was like a record store in Vancouver with the name of like a Canadian ethnic group, which is, I guess, the Zulu people.
Yeah, or imagine if it was
in Southern Africa.
You sound like what you're saying is, imagine if there was a record store called White People. Would you be mad?
Yeah. I would be pretty pissed if it was just like, Whitey Records, Ofe Records. What the fuck?
Watch the movie White Chicks and get back to me. What if the record store called White Chicks?
and somehow the signage like recalled the incredibly disturbing and uncanny poster for the film White Chicks?
Yeah, I don't know. I do feel like in that corner of like hip music industry stuff, there is this kind of perhaps exoticizing other cultures and appropriation, but because you're like sort of collecting records from these people from different cultures, or you're kind of like indexing them in a way, then you think that you're celebrating them. But I do think that there is maybe like some deep set colonial thing to it as well. But I don't really know. I don't feel ready to have this conversation that we're having right now.
No, that's fair. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lead you down a path where you'd have to say deep-seated colonial thing. I don't think that was fair.
I will say
It's also too early. Like if it was 10 o'clock at night, I think.
yeah, we're doing the pod so early right now because you have to watch. You're trying to watch the Raptors game. I heard you're mad that they're striking.
Yeah,
I think you said.
I'm gonna look at my television and just stew about the fact.
Just imagine that they're playing.
Yeah, exactly. The full theater of the mind. Because of course I do not support workers striking, especially not in protest of things like racism.
Okay, well let's just read the lyrics at least. I'm feeling what I want to feel, and I'm saying what I've said all along because I know the things that are important to me. Because life is too short to be long. That's something we got to talk about.
Wow.
Do you think Mark was intentionally referencing that or no?
I think no. I don't. It just seems too short to be long. I don't. There's no way that they are like, yo, remember Uranus? I'm going to take that idea and 20, Jesus Christ, 30 years later, 30? No, 20. Time, man, time. Maybe that really was just like in the back of his brain, though.
It could. I mean, yeah, it's because also wouldn't he just? I do think life is too short to be long is almost better than what he went with.
Well, it's sort of like because here it feels clever, but it actually also makes sense. Like you're like life's too short to belong. Like blaze your own path. Change your tune. One step to make a stand. Start your own African tribe. You know what I mean?
Like I get it. So it's he's saying life's too short to belong, like to fit in.
Yeah. So it actually, whereas like life's too short to last long just feels like you kind of misremembered something that actually was like sort of clever and had some substance to it.
Exactly. But then again, either Mark directly referenced it or it's kind of like how he destroyed his Animal Crossing island mere hours after we talked about it being bad.
Right.
And it's like he's just so vibe based and so tuned in. Like he probably had a dream last night with just the word 161 over and over again and doesn't know why. Like he's just like so tuned into this other plane and he is like vibey as all hell and he doesn't even realize. So maybe it's more of Mark's vibe based existence is why he accidentally referenced Zulu.
I like the idea of like, he's super tuned into energy when it's actually the small sort of fleet of people that he has listening to the pod and the Sclusies and sort of sending him comprehensive notes.
Well, because like remember when Mark said 100 replies or 100 retweets and I'll bring back Sig Mark, and then he deleted it because everyone was getting mad at him for like praising Sigs, but like. It's one of those things where I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Like I said Sigmark first, right? Like no one had said the word Sigmark before me, did they? Like
Sigmark is like a pretty like
me saying Sigmark.
Yeah,
is him saying it is because of me, right? Am I crazy? Like is this some sort of ego thing?
I think you manifested Sigmark into the universe as a phrase and as a way of describing Sigmark. But it's too specific. Like, there's no way that he was like, oh, remember, like, I'm feeling nostalgic for how cool I used to look when I smoked cigarettes. I'm going to call it Sigmark. No, that's too. I think you incepted that.
Yeah. So, but then again, maybe he's just feeling the vibes. He just saw it mentioned in a tweet and was like, oh, that's vibey as hell. Life is too short to be long. Sigmark. Kind of.
Is it like, I guess like being any sort of like, especially at this point, I mean, this man is a professional musician and songwriter. And so you are kind of trying to absorb words for the things that sort of go into the back of your mind. Maybe you write them down. And so maybe just at some point he saw someone tweeted him, because there's no way that having said Sigmark as many times as you and I now both have on this pod, that like someone didn't tweet something at him and then it lodges in his brain and Sigmark becomes a reality.
That's exactly, yeah. I think that's more likely what I don't think.
I don't think he's quiet. I don't think he's secretly like. That's my real opinion. I don't think he's secretly listening to the pod, but I do think that it's like at this point enough people listen to this podcast to then tweet stuff into the universe that might contain bits and pieces of ideas that have emerged here.
Which also, like again, please don't tweet at Mark Hoppus things from the pod. That's just too
No,
scary.
This is between us. Yeah.
It's like just me and Sam hanging out with each other.
Yeah, it's
the
already
fact that
enough that
any of
you're
you are
here
is a privilege, so you need to respect that.
Yeah, and we can rescind that privilege. Imagine we can block people from listening to the pod, not just from like tweeting at us.
Remember
How
when
much
people-
power we'd have?
That would be so sick.
Block IP addresses.
But remember when like the most like meaningful thing as a teen was to just like not belong and not fit in, and how that was like the worst thing you could possibly do is be a sheep or fit in.
Yeah, but also
now-
like belonging feels nice.
Yeah, I mean, well, now everyone laughs at me because I'm different, but they're all the same. So it's kind of the tables have turned, really.
Right, it's true. You are also getting to laugh now.
Have you ever noticed how like punk rockers claim to be so different from one another, but they all dress exactly the same? It's like, hello, did you
That's
all go to the same counterculture store?
That's interesting. I don't think that is...
line up at the counter to get your culture.
What? That's true, man. That's fucking crazy.
Life is too short to belong, and those thoughts that I've kept inside with those words that I could not hide before those times that always remind me that all I did was try. These seem like what I imagine Chris Carrabba lyrics are like.
Oh yeah, for sure. This, like Chris Carrabba lyrics would be more raw, like way more. Because you saying them, I'm like, okay, it's like a little awkward. Like I've gone back and like listened to some Dashboard, and it's just like it will make your skin crawl.
Before we keep making fun of him,
rawness.
is he alive? I know
Chris Carrabba?
Yeah, remember he's like recovering from a motorcycle accident or something.
What?
No one's talking about this. We talked about this on the pod one time.
I think he's alive. He's got that new haircut.
I know.
Is that
Yeah,
already like 2 years ago?
Yeah, no, there was a thing where he got in a motorbike accident. And I think maybe he's fine now. I'm not sure.
Let's
if you
check
search Chris Carrabba
in
motorcycle.
June 2020, he was in a motorcycle
Yeah.
accident.
Yeah, he had to. I don't know. Hopefully he's okay. Little guy.
Damn. Well, it doesn't say. Hold on. Let's click. Let's check this. He's recovering from severe motorcycle accident. This is from Billboard. Dashboard Confessionals. Chris Carrabba is recovering from severe motorcycle accident. Has not lost sight of the social issues at hand. So even in recovery, Chris Carrabba still supporting Black Lives Matter.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for all you've done.
Wow. Yeah, he posted like a photo of him in a hospital bed in June with a mask on, also letting you know.
Yeah, he's really ticking all the boxes here.
Wow. I was socially distanced in the hospital.
And the beep machine beside him in the hospital bed that shows the lifeline signal, he's made it so that it spells out "I'm still with her" when it beeps. So that's incredible, progressive. Chris Carrabba, thank you for that as well.
Wow. I have surgeries and months of rehab to come.
Yeah, I
Damn.
think hopefully he'll be fine. So anyways, those lyrics do kind of remind me of that, though. Like, it's funny, too. This seems like a joke song, but the verse is pretty emo. But then the chorus
that's the thing. I don't think I realized that.
Yeah, but also good. Like, those lyrics are pretty good. They're just kind of, like, stumbling through. You can tell he's just trying to fill the syllables to match the busy song they've written.
Yo, some great news from Chris Carrabba only 3 days ago from the recording of this podcast. My broken shoulders are officially healed. Now for some more grueling physical therapy to regain the use of these arms of mine.
Wow.
My man doesn't have arms.
His arms don't work?
Look, he posted
I was
going to
interrupt you to make a joke that it's too bad his broken heart has not been healed, but then you said his arms don't work, and I was like, good Lord, I'm not going to joke about this. So
No, this is
glad I didn't joke about
Damn,
it.
Chris Carrabba, our thoughts are with you.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Damn, Carrab.
Crap. He'll be fine, I
Don't
think. I
don't
believe.
motorcycle. You know, that's really the lesson here.
What's that?
Don't motorcycle. It's too dangerous, even though it
My
looks
brother,
cool.
Primetime 69, just got a motorcycle like a week ago.
Prime time, don't do it. You're going to go the way of Carrabba. Break all your shoulders. Lose the loss of your arms.
Don't
It's
say
scary.
no.
I'm not saying I don't want it to happen. I'm just saying you got to be careful.
I'm scared.
Get helmets for your arms.
Okay, so the verse makes us face our mortality and makes us send our thoughts and prayers to Chris Carrabba. And then the chorus is, so change your tune, one step to make a stand. I want to speak my mind. Already, like, seems serious. Start my own African tribe. I'm alone now, running to the deepest pile of shit, because that's where I'm going to blend in. Go. So, again, saying, if it didn't have the African tribe part, and he was just saying he's running to the deepest pile of shit, because that's where I'm going to blend in, is he saying he's a piece of shit? Because that's funny.
Yeah, that I guess is... Huh. Yeah, he's just saying he's a piece of shit.
But, like...
Weird? This song's weird, man.
This song is weird.
Yeah, so basically it's like... To change your tune. I actually can't parse what the fuck...
I just started playing a news thing by accident on here. I guess I can delete it. But no, I just was remembering this was the thing Donald Trump in 2018 famously said was he called Haiti and African countries shithole countries. Is Tom like sort of saying that his African tribe will be located in a deep pile of shit? Like, is that what he's getting at?
No, I feel like almost every line of this is sort of disconnected from the other one. So it's like, change your tune one step to make a stand, because it's still like this idea of like, this is a song about conformity, right? And being against it. And then this idea of like, I'm going to go as far, what's the furthest place you could imagine from San Diego? It's probably like being part of a tribe in Africa. Okay, so I'm going to speak my mind. I'm going to go out there and like just do my own thing. Like what is going to separate me the most from this sort of like, you know, dull suburban existence? And then I'm alone now running to the deepest pile of shit because that's where I'm going to blend in, which is like, I'm a big piece of shit. That feels almost accidental. Like, that feels a little like you eat pieces of shit for breakfast where you don't realize how you've phrased something.
Yeah, maybe we're just looking back at this through now that the president of the United States has said that Africa is a shithole. Now that's why they sort of pair together and we're like, oh, this isn't great. But yeah, I think you're right. And I think almost it seems like he's maybe tongue-in-cheekly doing a meta, making fun of people who demand to stand out. Because they're trying to stand out so much that they're starting their own tribe across the world, but they're also just a huge piece of shit. But then again, this song's about not wanting to blend in. And so he's saying he will blend in as a piece of shit. So then it's contradicting itself there, too.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to think that maybe that sort of like critique of the notion of nonconformity is the intended message here, because like that is kind of what it seems like Pathetic is about. So it's not like this is like a totally foreign idea to this band. That like trying to be punk just makes you, your own like what's the word? Jesus Christ, my brain just stopped, man. A robot, whatever, a zombie. What's the thing that you'd call all the jocks who look the same?
A drone, or
some sort of punk drone, punk clone drone.
Yeah, I don't know. But then verse 2, those choices that I've never made with those decisions that once cut me a break. Because after all, what's left in the end? There's some things that they just can't take. So take a bow. Well, you're not that great. So pat your back, go off and masturbate. Because one thing that you know for sure, your hand is not a lonesome date. The word lonesome is like the ultimate teen lyric word, I think.
If it's not a teen lyric, it's just like old-timey country music. Like
or
those
I guess
are the only two people who ever say lonesome.
Or like late 90s indie too. Like I think of Beck, One Foot in the Grave, or Modest Mouse, like they all love. I guess it's just like is a '90s word, lonesome.
It
was
people
only
just stopped saying lonesome at some
mid
point.
to late '90s. We all said lonesome, and then since then we've all been like, oh yeah, the word is lonely. I don't know why I kept saying lonesome for that brief.
I think we should bring back
period.
lonesome.
I think we should too.
A lot of people feeling very lonesome during quarantine.
So is he again? Because usually in Blink songs, it's like, I'm masturbating because I'm so lonely. Is he saying you fucking want to be so cool and stand up for everyone, but your only friend is your hand because you just are jacking off all the time?
Or this feels a little bit like, you're never alone when you've got yourself. Like your hand is not a lonesome date. You might think that that's pathetic, but in fact, you should be able to, be your own best friend. Keep yourself company.
So you think it's kind of like a self-care generation kind of anthem?
Exactly.
That does track with...
You want to have a rich inner life. I feel like I see a lot about that. Children need rich interior lives. Like, okay, that's what this is about. It's about having a rich, I guess, interior and exterior life with yourself.
I think also, like, if we're going to cancel this song for sort of exoticizing starting an African tribe without really knowing anything about it, I do think we also need to cancel all of the, like, Lena Dunham type influencers who love to constantly call everyone their tribe. Like you find like a new yoga class or whatever, and you're like, oh, I finally found my tribe. Like that's such a fucked up thing to say all the time, isn't it?
I mean, isn't that like that? But that's one of those things that like people we have learned to not say. I think that's like in general.
I think everyone still says it though. I think
those people should read more posts that tell them not to.
Exactly. There needs to be more posts about that. Everyone's constantly saying, don't say bitch or whatever. But what about don't say tribe or don't say spirit animal? I mean,
it's like the powwow, having a powwow. Like all those things are not good for you and me at least.
I don't like those ones at all.
No.
It's actually really gross to be like, oh, I found my tribe, and you're talking about Zumba or something.
Finally found my tribe. Yeah, no, it is gross. I agree with you.
So, I don't know. I mean, ultimately, I guess I also previously thought that these lyrics were going to be funnier. And I thought that it was, when I was defending it, I hadn't really read them yet. I just thought the idea of it seemed funny, but these lyrics are not very good.
No, they're not great, but they just feel, I think the reason that they don't make any sense is probably because they wrote them in like 20 minutes. This definitely feels like the sort of song that was like not built to withstand this level of scrutiny. The exception being that life is too short to belong. Very good. Although I wonder if that's like just on a throw pillow, like, Can I buy that? Like, there's a lot of like Etsy kind of merch.
I need to look.
No, when you search that phrase, you only get the Zulu lyrics. I guess that's because life. They invented a great little phrase. Even when you do "life is too short to belong," all you get is Blink stuff. This is a good. They should lean more into this as like a memorable, sort of clever turn of phrase.
I just don't understand. People are just saying, I'm looking it up on Reddit. People are trying, I was hoping they would dissect it more, and they really haven't, but most people are saying that it's...
Hoping Reddit would do our job for us?
Yeah, exactly, and they haven't. Most people are saying it's coincidental. This person, Asshat John, has said it's coincidental, I think.
Wow.
It's an interesting word.
So it's both tangential and a coincidence.
It's pretty interesting. Coincidental.
Asshat John. Ooh, asshat. Let's bring back asshat.
I don't think I like asshat. It reminds me of like a Samantha Bee kind of thing to say.
It's got real bee vibes for sure.
So the song is just so gall darn fast already that no one has done a Nightcore version.
Could you make one for me though?
You want me to?
Yeah, I like when you do that sometimes.
Okay. What if we first do a Nightcore version of this video first? Just because we have the time.
182.
Yeah, okay.
182.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, it sounds good like that. It actually sounds even better.
182.
That is a lot better.
182.
Yeah, it takes a number that I already liked hearing read to me and just gives it a new and exciting energy.
I was too afraid to do it with 161.
Oh yeah,
because like that's too fucked.
The energy of the highways that come out of that is just...
Okay. Oh, it sounds like liturgy.
Yeah.
Life is too short, too long.
It does sound a lot like liturgy.
I'm going to play and dance.
I miss hipster black metal. That was such a fun
Yeah, that was a good couple
6
of
months we
years.
had.
Is it just like, oh yeah, do you think it was only 6 months?
Kind of felt like it.
I feel like it like started truly, obviously, with like Sunbather, and then I think it ended with everyone seeing Liturgy play
I'm
live
going to play and dance.
and being like,
I think,
oh,
but before Sunbather, there was Aesthetica, which is like the sickest Liturgy record. But then I think that drummer quit, and then I feel like Liturgy is like more essays now than music, which is just like we can only handle so many essays. Liturgy, you know, unless we're talking about my homies.
yeah, I was like, say
case.
it, do it.
The more the merrier. Essay.
I was
So that
like
was
thinking
good.
it, and I was like, is it okay to do that? But I'm glad you did.
You know, there's a lot of that this week. A lot of people thinking things that they're like, I'm not going to say it, and then I just do say it. That happens in the interview too. So
Really? Okay, good.
really
So
reaching out.
you've been brave all over the pot this week.
It's true. I have been. Well, I've been braying all over the pod for sure. Perhaps I've been brave. That was good Nightcore version that we just made.
Yeah.
Fun to remember Liturgy. Maybe I'll put on that album later. Up next, this is the intro. I don't know if they always use it or what, but this is from the Blink-182 Dudes podcast.
Oh shit!
So
It's been so long since I like thought about the universe that we inhabit with dozens of other podcasts. So
sometimes
hell
they'll
yeah.
tweet. Sometimes they'll like tweet at us and stuff. Someone's asking me what's my talent. People are still fighting with me in this Nate thread, and some guy just
just
said,
Nate defenders.
So what's your talent?
Tell them that your talent is like being a good husband, you know, and a kind son,
Okay.
and a decent brother.
And host,
Yeah.
that-
Also a host.
but
Although are
that.
you coming for like Drew's territory, like as you know, Canada's host?
well, whatever. Too
Whose
late.
host? Whose host are you?
I'm a host of a Blink-182 podcast in a world inhabited by numerous Blink-182 podcasts. I do feel like there are times when they all try to sort of team up and talk to us and stuff, and I just sometimes think, you know, we're so much better than you all.
Damn,
Stay out of my
attitude.
mentions.
That's fucked up, man.
No, you know what we should do? We should do a meeting of the Blink-182 podcasts.
Well, as you were
Although,
saying it,
I
I was
don't
like,
think they would
imagine-
let us do exclusive because then it would be behind our paywall, which is a funny idea. But what if there was like 12 white guys on a Zoom call talking Blink-182 all at once?
It is like, I mean, I think about like the Great Death guest interview that was like 5 of us, which we were worried would be too chaotic and was instead perfectly chaotic. The idea of just like all of the Blink-182 podcast hosts sort of monologuing at each other, that's very interesting because no one else would really gets what you and I go through, you know? Maybe we'll really hit it off, you know, because we share this trauma together.
I guess, but yeah, okay. I mean, it would have to be exclusive, but we could just make it not paywalled. Maybe let's see. Maybe we can have a Blink-182 podcast summit, but we need to get them all.
It would have
all need to be there.
everyone. It would have to be like,
And it has to be moderated by just Zach.
yeah. Oh, that's good. Maybe just Zach can kind of play the kind of peacekeeper at the center of everything. Like if
There's like the new one we haven't really talked about on here where they like talk about a movie and a Blink song every week, and it's like 2 comedians and they're like trying to be like they're trying to take the piss out of Blink-182, and I'm like,
do not take any piss.
Sounds a little familiar to me. You know, being a cinephile. And
It's
why
true.
not?
Yeah, come in for your territory.
All right, so this is from the Blink-182 Dudes podcast. I don't remember which one this is. There was, of course, I haven't plugged the Patreon yet this week. Patreon.com/Blink-155. A long time ago, we did one where we listened to little snippets of all the other Blink-182 podcasts. That was like a pivotal moment because that was when all of the alt accounts started, many of which have been recently deleted by Twitter.
Why does Twitter not love the pod?
Everyone's out to get us. Maybe this isn't even the song. But the user who uploaded his name Zulu. Yeah, it's not the song at all.
No, it's just like it's kind of a sound alike, like a.
It just sounds like a generic Blink song. See, it's the uploader.
Welcome
who
to
did
Blink
this.
180 Dudes.
The internet's only Blink 180 Dude podcast. I'm here with my co-host,
Matt.
Smam. I'm trying to think of a name that's like. There's not a lot of names that are like Sam, really.
It's very unique. Also, there aren't a lot of other names that are like Josiah.
That's such a pretty name, Sam.
Aw, I feel the same way about Josiah.
The thing, this was uploaded by someone named Zulu, and like I said, I couldn't remember how the song goes, so I just thought it was the song, but it wasn't.
The riff
so,
for a second, I was like, "Is that it?" But then it was like, "It's definitely not it."
So now we've just started a fight with all the other Blink pods for no reason. So
When
that's
we
good.
get like a copyright claim on YouTube for using that
from Blink 180 dudes,
yeah, they start making all the money from our dozens of YouTube plays. Didn't you find somebody recently like commenting on one of the YouTube videos, like that it was so really cute that we kept doing the podcast even though no one was obviously listening to it?
yeah. Which also, like, some of our uploads on YouTube have a couple hundred views. That's pretty good. It's better than nothing.
Yeah, I know. I'm not ashamed.
This is Josh. I'm sorry, Ed. We're going to talk over this one again. This is Josh Castaneda recording, doing an instrumental cover. When you hear it without the vocals, you really do notice like some classic Tom style guitar playing.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like extremely Tom.
Even doing like the chord progression where the first two chords are chords and the second two are octave chords is really only a Tom move, I think.
Yeah. Oh, this sounds great like this. Also, it's great because it's just this side by side, and so in that of this guy doing the bass part and the guitar part, and so in that pause, it was just like two identically dressed men just like head bob, bend back into it, but like very subtle movement.
I know, like even the guitar and bass are basically the equivalent model of Squire, so he looks exactly the same.
It does sound so much though, kind of like the end of Boring, a song that we both covered.
Yeah,
partially accidentally that like sick outro in the song.
It's just funny that Tom so clearly has a style of guitar playing, but it's so difficult for people to replicate it.
Yeah, like even when you have people like Future Idiots kind of trying to do the Blink type, classic Blink era covers, it's like it's unique. Like it really is. Like it's like a way of thinking about how to structure a guitar part that I think is kind of hard to just like superficially recreate.
Exactly. Blink 182 is so good. That's why I love hosting Blink 180 Dudes with you.
Nothing but Blink 182 rules. As a great prophet once said.
It was written. Verse 161. This is by Jer Asuncion, who's been popping up lately. I love Jer Asuncion.
The song is entitled Zulu, originally
Who's Jer?
He's just this dude who's just like...
Came from them, 1995 EP entitled We Came to Conquer Uranus. I'm not kidding. That's the title of their EP. 1, 2, 3, go.
Just tell some jokes.
I'm not kidding. He's just like a guy who just like has a very loose strumming pattern. He's the guy who skateboards inside his house.
Oh yeah. Also, he's smiling as he sings. There's like a nice energy emanating from this.
Those thoughts that I came inside with those words that I could not hide before the stars and always remind me that all I ever did was right. So change your tune, one step to make a stand.
Yeah, I love this song a lot.
Start my own African track. I'm alone and right.
Jared's from the Philippines.
That even smile of shit, cause that's where I'm
Just such a big
play.
smile.
Go.
He's so cute.
Also, there's something about like the way that it's recorded, like when he started talking, I honestly thought that it was coming from like my room, like as opposed to my headphones. Like there's something like the way it's reverberating where I literally took out the headphones to be like, is my computer audio on?
Like, is Jared Assumption in my house right now?
Yeah, I wish.
He has like a very K record strumming pattern. It's very Juno.
Yeah, yeah.
Stop my own now, make and drive. I'm alone now, running to the people's palace.
Why did I say I didn't like this song? It's a hit. I love the chorus now.
I think because the chorus is better than the verse.
Is there a dog barking in the background?
Only okay.
Is there a dog? Did you hear that, or is that in real life?
Okay. I think that's in the video. There's a dog barking, but it also, sounded like it was. It's just like when someone makes those mixes that are like it's like Billie Eilish in 5D audio, like some invented ass YouTube thing. You're like, it's just some reverb and like mixing, but this is exactly that.
I mean, this is the opposite though, because there's clearly no mixing. It's just like perfect rhythmic 3D dog sounds in the background.
That's where I'm going to blend it.
Yes.
Oh my god, I love it.
I wish he was in my house right now.
Oh, so good. So good. All right, this is a boy in his room.
Okay.
I don't know the boy's name because I think it's maybe Russian or something. I can't really read that. But it's KS is his initials. I thought it was going to be a guitar cover, but then this boy started singing.
Zulu, всем прекрасного настроения.
Well, he did the chord hit and then reaches over to start the track.
Kind of looks like Nathan Fielder.
He kind of does. He's like, I love the energy of his guitar playing because it's definitely falling apart, but he's still nailing it perfectly.
It's also, he's got like the lyrics up the side of it, so he's looking like really hard off to the side and then occasionally trying to look at the camera and make eye contact. And now that he's doing the chorus, he's staring right into the camera, and it's kind of like very alpha.
His voice, did you hear his voice crack? Listen to this. Yes. Oh, he's so sick. This is so magical.
He's also got like a bit of a like line kind of shaved in his head, like a bit of a like cool teen at the first choice haircutters kind of thing happening.
I feel like his guitar strap is like some generic skulls that almost look like, what's that guy's name? Puss Head or whatever?
Yeah. It's all
But you can tell he's like, not only is his name clearly Russian or whatever, but you can tell he's not from America because his t-shirt is just an American flag on it with nothing else.
It's great because like this bedroom also looks like it has like commemorative plates on the wall.
You know what else I love about this kid? I just noticed he doesn't clip his strings, which I also never do. I always have like dangly strings coming off my guitar.
I never used to, and then eventually I was like, it was just because I was lazy though.
Yeah, I mean, I just like never had the right kind of tool to cut it.
Who has
and
tools?
So I never,
Who has like a wire cutter in their house?
I just like made it an aesthetic because I didn't want to like have a tool.
Yeah, exactly.
But now my guitar is new enough that I still haven't had to change the strings yet. So maybe I'll just never change them.
That's good. Just let them like a finely aged, like a
Exactly.
fine wine, like a Merlot or a Cabernet that Blink would enjoy.
Okay, this is the second last one. It's 8-bit cover. This is by 8-bit Arcade.
Oh, this is fucking great. This is the definitive version of the song. I started listening to this album before we started this pod because I initially looked for the song on Apple Music, and this EP is not on streaming. And so the only Blink Zulu that is available is the 8-bit arcade version, which is from a full album of 8-bit Blink covers that all sound this fucking good, and there's like 100 tracks on it.
Yes.
And this is like proper 8-bit. Weren't we shitting on something last week for like being like easily 16 bits?
We don't shit on stuff on here.
That's true. It's not our attitude.
When it comes to shitting on stuff, we're constipated.
No, wait. Why is this saying it's 7 minutes long?
It's the whole EP, so that's why I had to skip ahead.
Sick.
Someone stole this from the 8-bit arcade Bandcamp, and then
Rude.
ooh, the breakdown.
Fuck yeah. Well, people should actually support 8-bit arcade by streaming it on a streaming
By
service
going
on
to
Zulu.
patreon.com/blink155 and signing
yeah.
up. That was sick. All right, this is the last
Sick.
one. So, like I said, this is our final Blink-182 true perfect era skate punk song. And so it's kind of sad. Like, I just wish I could go back because I feel like I'm not ready to say goodbye to this era, you know? And so thankfully we can end. In a way we can go back because the final cover
Excellent. Great news.
is actually somebody... Nick Dodge has uploaded it reversed / played backwards. And
Thank you, Nick.
So we can listen to that and kind of go back. Now it sounds even more like liturgy.
Yeah.
Look, I know we have a lot of assignments for our listeners sometimes. If somebody really was bored this week, I would absolutely love it if you covered this and then we could play it forward next week and see if it worked.
Oh, that's an interesting challenge. I hope someone does it.
Come on, there's got to be someone out there who just heard that idea and was like, oh, you're on the fence about it. You're like, well, just take the plunge. I'm doing like an altar call, but for shit post content. It's a pretty interesting song when it's backwards. I
Yeah.
guess.
So I mean, what I'm encouraged to see. I mean, this has almost 1,000 views, and Nick Dodge's description is, if you like this one, I will post some other rare songs backwards. And obviously, they were encouraged enough that in addition to various WWE entrance music videos, they have posted like a handful of reverse Blink songs, but they've also like. What's messing me up here is like, have we been on this page before? Because like scrolling through it, it appears that I have listened to about half of their "I'm sorry" reversed mix.
We must have. I mean, or it's just when you're searching for that WWE content. late at
Right,
night,
of course.
and
When
then you
I
end
got
up
to
on
listen
here.
to all my favorite songs, but they have they've done so many like Paramore backwards, Angels
Plus
and Airwaves,
44,
Kill Switch backwards.
The song 155 by Plus 44 backwards. I mean, that's just everything. That's number magic right there.
Yeah, some of these are like very popular backwards videos. Like a lot of people are searching out this content.
I guess like it's one of those things where it's like it's pretty easy to reverse a song, but also you didn't think to do it. So
Totally. Yeah, that's true, man. That's true. So, Josiah, what are your final thoughts on this, the last Scott Raynor skate punk Blink-182 song Of course, I'm talking about Zulu. Just in case you weren't sure.
I'm sad to say goodbye to this perfect era of the lads. I mean, what a bunch of beautiful boys having the time of their lives, doing so many jumps, playing so fast. I'm genuinely sad to say goodbye, but I'm thankful that our YouTube algorithm has been irreversibly fucked to always send us vintage Blink-182 videos, and maybe I'll just start watching them for fun sometimes instead of for work, which this is a job
For
to me.
this job. Yeah, because I guess like we're not gonna be able to find excuses to watch again, except for just you and I kind of hanging out on Zoom, like 1990s Blink in Montreal.
I mean, there's one.
Performance.
There's one more
Cover? One more
from
cover,
this
right?
era. No, like there's just pretty much all that's left from the Rainer era, other than some covers, is "Damn It," and so
Now we have to start that episode.
that one's just a chore. I don't know. How do you feel about this? Saying goodbye to this.
So I was like, how do I feel about Damn It? I was like, well, I have some thoughts. I mean, watching these videos, especially because ultimately, like, you and I weren't really into the band at this exact time. And so there's something so great about having an excuse to sort of dig deep on the stuff that was like just below the surface when we were younger and like couldn't see because we weren't going to those shows. Like I didn't know that bands slept on people's floors when this was happening and like when I got into Blink. Like that would have sounded quite preposterous to me.
Yeah.
And so like as like an opportunity to sort of look back and be like, damn, Blink on stage being like, we need a place to stay. And as this sort of relatable thing of like, we've slept on people's floors, people have slept on our floors. It's like, I think all of these songs have like really, really grounded us in like something that we love, but that we're not retreading, you know, whether it's like getting into Rectum or songs like Reebok Commercial, you know, like understanding that there is this part of this band that we love just as much as the stuff that we are so intimately familiar with has been so fucking cool. And I similarly am also very sad that this is it. So like Zulu, you rock. Thanks Zulu and Scott Raynor. Thank you for doing an email interview with us sort of once. I hope that, you know, maybe one day you'll want to talk to us. That would be nice, I think.
And now we gotta listen to me talk to my mortal enemy, Nate Ruess.
So change your tune, one step to make a stand. I want to speak my mind, start my own African tribe. I'm alone now running to the deepest pile of shit. That's where I'm going to blend it.
Welcome to Blink-155, who I mostly know just as like my new reply guy, I guess. Welcome into my life, Nate Ruess.
I'm so happy to be here. This is amazing. I didn't know that you had a voice. Well, actually, I did because I listened to your podcast.
How I guess the thing I didn't ask you this before. I did a little pre-interview, which I don't normally do, but it's because I just watched Ryan Seacrest to try to pronounce your name properly, and I still fucked it up. And he said it wrong too. You said it right. Like your last name is supposed to be Roosh.
Well, I mean, it's like it's supposed to be Roosh from like my fam. I've got 100 family members in Iowa, so that's how they all pronounce it. But then any friends that I've made in like Germany and stuff along the way, they've been like, it's Ruess. And I was like, okay, cool. So when I changed it when I was like 17 years old to make it more appealing, because anytime, like, it's just so harsh when someone says like Roosh.
I'm going to call you Nate Rouge, like red. That's cool.
That's cool. You like, whatever. I don't care. At this point in my life, you can call me anything.
I will also call you late for dinner. Usually they say, don't call me that. But today.
I was going to say that, but I was like, no, I'm not going to. Like, Josiah's too, like, I read his tweets. He's a little too smart to go there.
Nope, definitely not. How did you,
cool.
that's
what
I'm trying to understand, Nate Rouge, is how did you end up in my life? I don't even understand, but now I talk to you every day now, basically.
Yeah, no, we're actually it's like we're very tight. because I guess COVID happened and I'm bored, and so I got online for the first time in my life. But I've followed, like, all the people that I follow, I've just kind of secretly followed them for like a really long time. Now, not Drew, and that's kind of what has made it really, really, really good for me.
Drew is a big once you like discover and get Drew, that's like hearing the Beatles for the first time or something.
Oh, it's been amazing. My wife will be like, "Why are you smiling at your phone?" And I'll just be like, "I don't know. Drew just said, just kidding."
Amazing. So that's I mean, that's amazing to see, but also I feel like you were just saying you had thought about, tell us about the bit that you thought about doing on the show, because I really do love this idea.
Oh yeah, I think since I've never been on Twitter before in my entire life, and I did have like a social media manager, and they'd always be like, Nate, you gotta post, which I mean, I guess at the time I just thought was really dumb. I think it would be really dumb if people were like hanging on to everything you were saying, but no one gives a fuck about me anymore. And so it makes it easier to just be like, don't vote, and say shit like that, and like not have anybody like deal with it. So that's why I got into Twitter. But I'm starting to think that maybe I never gave away the password to Nate Ruess Music, and I'm the social media manager, and I'm a huge Blink-182 fan, and this is the culmination of.
So it's not actually twice Grammy winning American singer-songwriter Nate Ruess. You're actually his social media manager here.
I am his social media manager, and I'm a huge fan of Blink, and I'm not that big of a fan of Nate. He doesn't even pay me anymore.
Because like your follow list alone is flying pretty close to the sun if you were to get extremely famous again.
What does that mean?
Like,
Tell me what that means.
I mean, some of the things that we talk about, some of the conversations you get in on, I feel like if you all of a sudden one of the songs you're working on that we'll talk about later explode, and you're like on the cover of every magazine, what if they're like, let's look at his tweets, and they're like, good God, this man. Like,
I would love to be canceled for Twitter. I would love to be canceled for my Twitter. I've been trying to think about what I'm going to be canceled, because I'm an extremely nice guy, like Josiah. If I'm going to big up myself on anything, it's just that I'm a wonderful person. Okay, so if I'm going to be canceled for anything,
that's a pretty large sort of net that you're casting, is that you're a wonderful person entirely.
I'm a wonderful person entirely. Not to everybody. Not to, like, I'm a wonderful person to people I follow on Twitter.
Right. That's true. That is true.
That is true. But I'm trying to think of what I was going to say. Oh yeah, if I'm going to be canceled for it, it's like TikTok teens now out of nowhere, they keep DMing me and being like, "Have you seen this video?" And it's this girl on TikTok being like, "This song, like, We Are Young, is about domestic violence. It's about domestic violence," and it's not. So I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Sure, if I get canceled for that, like, that's fine.
So it's not about that though.
It's not. No, not at all. Well, no, there's like a reference to like asking about a scar, but like it's like emotional, and I don't even fuck it. Like, no, of course not. But you never know. I mean, I didn't write the song. I'm just the social media manager.
Right. Exactly.
But I don't like. I would probably love to. First of all, I would never hope that I had any sort of notoriety where people felt the need to look back at my tweets. But also, I don't feel like I get enough likes. So if it's going to divert people back to reading my tweets, then that'd be great.
Or maybe they'll just try to cancel you and then discover at Rappin' for Safety, and it'll be just kind of a win-win.
I don't think that anyone that follows me is on that level.
Drew and I were real talk, it's Wednesday right now. I was a little late to talk to Nate because Drew and I were recording Globe Hell Warning, our other podcast that we do. And we were kind of just talking about how you have so many followers and you're constantly big upping Globe Hell Warning. And it has literally done nothing for our numbers at all.
Nothing.
Because I just think they don't get it, really.
No, why would they get it? Why would I even get it? Like, like why would I even get it? There comes a point.
That's what
in the
I'm
night,
asking too, though. Is like, why do you get it? Is the other thing? Is like, it's so interesting.
I mean, listen, Josiah. I don't want to talk shit about you, but I don't want to turn this into the Just Drew show. But there's just a certain joy that I get from hearing Drew talk about almost anything. But I will, like, what'll happen is the kids will go to bed. My wife is like, she's now moved on to like 90 Day Fiance or something like that. So I'll retire to the bedroom and I'll turn on Nintendo Switch and play like Super Mega Baseball and just like listen to like Globe Hell Warming. And then when I was like caught up on that, I was like, well, I gotta get the Just Drew show like podcast and get that popping too. And I'm listening and I'm like, why the fuck are you listening to this?
How do you think I feel while I'm making it? I mean, this show that we're on right now is at least it has a concept, and we've spent most of it talking about Drew.
I know, totally. And I was like, am I going to interview, like, you know what? I'm a fan of the podcast. I heard about it way back when, but I was so full of podcasts, and I was also just like, I can't, like, I probably jumped in, I probably heard about the podcast at like episode like 60 or 70. So I was just like, that sounds like too much of a backlog for me. But then I crept on like reading your Twitter stuff, and I was like, well, it's got to be funny, it's got to be good. But I never got into it like enough to like. There's questions that I have that I would like to interview you about Blink-182.
Oh, wow.
You know.
Okay, I probably won't because a lot of people on Reddit hate me because I can't remember anything about Blink-182 anymore. I can only remember basically my own jokes that I've made. But sure, please go ahead. I'd love to be interviewed by Nate Ruess's social media manager about Blink-182.
By the way, if you want this to be a lead into the song, like you talking about not remembering anything, and that could be our lead into Zulu too, because that is like the facial blindness version of a song for me. Like I can't. I've known now for weeks that we were going to talk about this song. I listen to it every single day, and every single day I'm like, huh, I feel like I've never heard this song.
It's kind of true.
And like, but.
Well, hang on. Before you do that, then, if you have that nice segue, let me ask you the questions that I always ask everyone that are just kind of like the stock questions first, really quick. Okay. Nate, was there ever a time in your life that you felt like you were too cool for Blink-182?
No. Well, does that coincide with, was there ever a time where I just didn't think Blink-182 was any good?
Yeah, I don't know, because I can't. That's the thing. We're still figuring each other out. Like, are you a snob? Like, have you ever had were you like a snobby kid growing up? Did you have like snob taste in music or no?
No, I have it's gotten so annoying because everybody now, but I have an eclectic taste in music. And most people would think like I was sitting with my family last night. My brother-in-law has produced a lot of like huge songs, and people will sit around and at the table and talk about like all this like pop music. And I'm like they were like, you don't know who Dua Lipa is? And I'm like, no, I literally never. I think my uncle. I think my brother-in-law did a song with her, and I was just like, no, I've never heard. I don't know who Dua Lipa is. But I'm not being snobby. I just like there is just music that I love, and that's what I listen to. And like I don't like to talk shit about music, but if I'm on a Blink-182 podcast and there's a few things that I feel like I need to get off my chest about Blink-182, because it was the first band I was ever in was a Blink-182 cover band.
Really? Oh my God. Well, yeah, I guess that's kind of the next question is like, how did you get into, well, I'm still figuring you out. So you're not really a snob. You're having dinner with Mark Ronson all the time, including tonight you were supposed to be as well. But he fucked you over apparently.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, no, he didn't make the roast, but
okay.
You know, what are you gonna do?
But so
now I have to make pasta after this. Like, that's what's up.
I like that we're starting late because Globe Hell ran long, and that's just a fine thing to do.
I mean, it makes me so happy just to know that another episode is being made.
Okay, so you're obviously like, you're in pop music. You clearly have taste that's like, not just pop music. You don't know who Dua Lipa is. Was there a time though that you were kind of like, you felt like you were too punk for any? Did you have a punk phase?
Punk phase. I'm sorry. I'm super, super, super. I think you and I have talked about this because I was like, oh, cool. You identify people that you follow that you could have a conversation, start a conversation. I'm not an outward type of person. So I don't really talk to a lot of people, and people who know me know that as a friend, I'm kind of like low risk, low reward, but I'm a wonderful person. So it does. But I was like, identify people that you can talk to on Twitter. And I was like, oh, you know what? Like Josiah, this is going to be perfect because he listens to Blink-182. There's not going to be this pretentious, because once you write We Are Young and a song for Pink and win some Grammys, you might lose a couple notches in someone who reads Pitchfork's opinion,
Right.
And so I was like, which I'm not that, it's not like I read Pitchfork or even listen to a lot of that music, although I wouldn't toss it aside, but it's just I'm not seeking out what the coolest music is. I'm just looking for something that I want to listen to. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll talk to Josiah because he's doing a Blink-182 podcast. Surely he knows enough No Effects and wants to talk about if I said MU330, what would you say?
I can picture some. I don't know. I think is that a band?
Yeah, it's a band.
Is it like a Columbia House CD Club kind of band, 90s?
No. It's 90s, but it's Asian Man Records. So it's right.
Okay. Yeah. So
but nonetheless, so I'm but I'm thinking I'm gonna be MU330, and you're gonna be fuck yeah, come on the podcast. But no, instead I'm it turns out that you and I have very different punk tastes.
Yeah, I'm trying to trap you here is what I'm trying to do. No.
Yeah, so there was never a time when I was too punk for Blink-182.
That's great. Okay, so I'm just trying to get through the fucking questions, Nate. Good Lord. You don't need to be... I'm sorry. I know you listen to Globe Hell. Now I'm going into Globe Hell mode. I want to start fighting right now. From what I've heard, people are constantly testing you and your attitude on this show. So if I have to... You don't have to go there with me, okay? But the interesting thing about that is I spent the first half of my life being the most pretentious music fan possible. And then through this project, I've realized that I just sincerely love Blink-182 so much. And then I realized that I sincerely love all pop music. And I kind of just like everything now. And it's not even eclectic. It's I've tried to learn how to find the value in everything. And so I've kind of had this blossoming into extreme... some sort of new kind of post-ironic earnestness through this project where it's I'm not really a snob anymore. And I think Blink-182's been the channel for that.
I mean, that's a beautiful thing. That's wonderful. And so how do you feel? Wait, what was, but you were in punk bands, right?
Yeah. I've always grown up being a huge snob about everything. I was in punk bands, and I've always tried to listen to the most pretentious things possible because when I was a kid, that was the currency. But I guess I'm just curious, when you were in the format before you were writing We Are Young and hanging out with Pink and stuff, were you in? Did you think you were indie or something, or did these things cross? Because we're fairly close in age. I'm just curious, were you always just I love to sing, I'm good at singing, I like pop music, and I'm going to do this kind of stuff? Or were you kind of was there any kind of social hierarchy in your brain? And I'm saying this as someone who thinks these things are bullshit.
No, it went like this. Wait, first of all, I feel like I've heard you reference touring with Fucked Up before, right?
Yeah.
So I love David Comes to Life. Love it when it came out, and we were kind of we were blowing up right at that time, and we were playing some festival in Kansas. And I guess someone was yeah, the lead singer fucked up, just like made some statement like Fun wouldn't know anything about the Kansas punk scene, or like some like snide comment.
Yeah.
And I was like, ah, man, like that hurts. Like I'm a huge fan of David Comes to Life. But I understand an easy target. Now I'm sitting here and I'm probably going to say some shit about Blink-182. So it's like that kind of stuff, like that like little bit of like snobbery, I guess, kind of hurts a little bit. But then at the same time, it's just like you have the music that you like, and it's easy to be dismissive of the music that you don't. And honestly, music that is on the radio, like that's the shit that I would talk the most shit about too.
For sure.
Because I've been in those sessions. I've written a ton of those songs. I would like take my name off of songs that I've written before in the past.
Wow.
That have been like big hits, because I'm just like, this is so fucking. First of all, it's fish in a barrel. It takes nothing to write a pop song. Anyways, that's why I don't do music very much anymore.
Interesting.
But my background was it was like basically pop punk into emo. This is like, and I feel like this is pretty standard for everybody. Pop punk into emo. Then I think we got signed, and so it was the format, and then I think we started like being obsessed with the Beatles and like Harry Nilsson, and like Fleetwood Mac, and then from there I was just kind of like, that was what like my like whatever, I'm into all music, and whatever inspires me is going to inspire me.
Right. And that's the kind of thing people maybe do scoff at that, but I feel like that's just like total liberation of your brain to just stop worrying about that kind of stuff.
I mean, I can't believe that I spent as much time as I did. You know, we'd like tour around in the format, and like Neutral Milk Hotel was the coolest thing ever to me at the time. Or I was listening to like Harry Nilsson or whatever, and then one of the other guys in the band would like listen to like Quicksand or something, and I was just like, "You're fucking new metal fucking nerd." And I was like, who cares?
Yeah.
You know, and everybody used to hate me so much because I would just I would shit on their music collection. And like,
well, the thing,
I
guess what I'm trying to say is like doing it about music is kind of a, reductive and very immature and very high schoolish, but like shitting on stuff in general rocks.
Like what? Give me an example.
Just like, I don't know. I mean, that's all I do all day is just shit on everything, and it's amazing. It's really fun.
No, I mean, I guess like that. Yeah, no, I'm learning a lot. Like, we'll just like digress into the online life again, but yeah, I'm now online like constantly and talking to people because I'm like, oh shit, like these are my people. Everybody kind of hates everything, and this is great, but no one's really like at least none of the people I follow, nobody's really like a dick about it, and everybody kind of like, everybody's kind of hates everything, but doesn't maybe in real life, and that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's all very confusing, and I definitely think I've completely lost myself through this project. But okay, those were the final question that I always ask everyone is, do you think that you're more of a Mark or a Tom? And feel free to we can start talking about Blink-182 now, but do you think you're more of a Mark or a Tom?
I'm definitely more of a Mark.
Really?
And I don't know if that's yeah. Because I don't know enough Tom. I was always a bigger fan of Mark's music, and I stopped listening to Blink-182 when he started singing in like a low voice.
When Mark did, or Tom?
When Mark did, which is part of all my notes as far as Blink-182 is concerned, like me flipping the script on you and interviewing you. But there was a point when he stopped singing like loud, like in Damn It, where he kind of had like a little bit, he used a little higher of his vocal range, not to get all technical on you.
I'm lost.
But but he would do that, but then he like started switching to like, I miss you. And that was when I was just like, no, this guy's like, he's got a really good like shouty voice. Why isn't he using it lately? He's just kind of like talking like with a low voice, and we're all being depraved of like the same vocal that was on the song Damn It, which is, or like Josie, which were all like incredible.
Well, one thing about that back then is he was big into the cigs back then, and then when they kind of blew up, he decided to quit smoking. I think that was why. But I think he kind of blamed that the voice in Damn It, which is honestly unbelievable if you haven't listened to it in a while and you've been listening to newer Blink and you go back to Damn It, it sounds unbelievable. But I think it is because he blamed it on cigarettes.
Oh, I by the way, I quit cigarettes. Like, I shred.
Yeah,
I smoked for I finally almost a year ago was like, okay, cool, it's time to quit smoking. So and I mean, like, I'm not gonna sing for you or anything, but you know. Well,
you do regularly, and that's not even a joke. But so yeah,
I do actually.
So you don't think it's the cig thing? I was also gonna, I've always wanted to ask someone who's like really good at singing, like, because both of their voices have changed so much. Does your voice change as you get older or something?
I mean, I hoped since I was a kid that my voice changed since I got older, but it's always been like really high and really annoying. And so no, your voice doesn't change, and that brings me to one of my notes, which was. I'm going to read it right here. It's bratty, raspy Tom is the best Tom.
That's
high singing Mark is the only Mark.
Oh, wow. That's deep.
Yeah. And like bratty, raspy Tom, that's like, if we're going to talk about Zulu, like that was kind of like that. He kind of had this nasal thing, but then he like threw a little bit of growl into the middle of it.
Yeah.
And that was always good. And this is going to bring me to my next note, which was, this is about Tom. He must not have had a lip ring yet. Feel like that's when he started sounding all weird.
This was a thing that you were saying to me in the DMs too, is that you think that the lip ring... Have you ever had a lip ring before, Nate?
No, but if I did, I think that it would make me change like my consonants from like me to may.
So you think that the classic sort of pop... I've read articles, I can't find them now, but by like linguists or whatever have studied the pop punk voice, and they've tried to like, you know, peg it to different areas of California and sort of also like bring it back to Johnny Rotten or something and kind of bring it all around it, making it an attitude thing. But I love this idea that it's just literally because of a lip ring.
Also, like, is a lip ring is punk rock, so I mean, it, you know, same type of thing. But yes, I do believe it's because of the lip ring, because now he kind of talks like this, or like he kind of has that thing where like he's just constantly like I have been so stressed lately that I've been going to sleep with a mouth guard in, so that because I've just grind my teeth into shit, and I feel like, and like I'm constantly just like messing with the mouth guard while I'm like trying to sleep, and I feel like that's what Tom is doing all the time, and it's distracting him from singing like crisply, and instead he's like, "Oh, there are small things," like which on Dude Ranch he didn't really sing like that.
It's true, but also he's gone through about, because you stopped listening to Blink then around the I Miss You album, the self-titled one.
I mean, I bought Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, but I the only song I really like, or the only two songs I liked were Stay Together for the Kids, and I thought Shut Up was an amazing track.
Oh yeah, that song's sick. But I'm just saying, since then, his voice has gone through like multiple other iterations, and he's tried doing kind of like, it's like that sort of whine has combined with a desire to be like Bono kind of, and then it's gotten even lower and even more weird, and then it's like it's completely off the deep end. Like some of the like Letterman performances and stuff, it's just completely fucked how Tom was singing later on before he left the band.
I noticed some of that because yeah, then I started deep diving into the podcast, and then next thing you know, my whole entire YouTube like algorithm is just like making me watch Angels and Airwaves videos.
Yeah.
And I mean, all I can tell you is this. I started out as a Paul McCartney fan for like ever, and he was always my favorite member of the Beatles, and I was always kind of like, John is just like so cliche. And when you start looking at the Beatles as like kids music, then suddenly John Lennon starts to make a little more sense. And the same type of thing has happened between Mark and Tom. So I've started to look at Tom as like the John Lennon of the group, and I've started to take him a little more seriously.
Yeah, I think it might have something to do with like how much of an unstoppable cultural force they are, and if you have to spend 20 or 30 years with them, Tom is just so much more interesting and insane, and so there's just so much more to think about all the time.
For sure. And Mark he seems kind of like, once again, I haven't done enough deep diving on them personally. An aside about Mark was that he was like a crazy format fan. And I was like, we were going to do like a format podcast, where we would like talk about, like, we would just do like a few episodes because we were supposed to do these reunion shows last year. And then COVID happened. So we were like, okay, well, how can we like tide everybody over? And we were like, okay, well, let's talk about a handful of songs. So we decided to try and do an episode. And the only thing that I learned out of doing an episode that we scrapped because it was so bad was that, that at one point in our relationship, and maybe when it was even like kind of tumultuous, is that the word? Yeah. We had done like an interview with Mark Hoppus. And I guess to answer your question from like a long time ago, I guess I was too cool for Mark Hoppus because I don't even remember doing an interview with him. Which is crazy because when I was 15, he was like my idol.
So we're jumping around a lot. I want to know more about, also when you finish this thought, I want to know more about your cover band. I'm sorry. I'm so excited to talk to you. I'm all over the place.
Wait, I have a cover band?
Didn't you say that your first band was a Blink-182 cover band?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I meant Blink-182 cover band in the fact that, like, it was like, tonight's the night. I've got everything just right.
Like, is that one of your real songs from it?
Yes, that was straight up, like, Never Gonna Score was the name of the band.
Oh, my God. Okay, you said that you wish your voice would get lower as you got older, but I feel like even when you talk, your voice is so perfectly pop punk. It's like in that exact pop punk register. So, and I know you were recently we're talking about all your podcasts, your life as a internet celeb now, taking off.
Yeah.
But you were on the Jimmy Eat World podcast, and you mentioned on there, and you've been telling me too, that you've kind of always been secretly just ripping off skate punk bands.
Yeah, like to an extent. I think those melodies are they're simple. So like, you can't go into, there's nothing too elaborate about it. It feels very nursery rhymey. And honestly, if I'm writing a song and I'm thinking like, I want this to be catchy, like that's kind of one of the first thoughts is like, how do you oversimplify it? And that's kind of what pop punk is to me melodically. They choose like good chords. They don't, the pop punk I listen to, they don't get too like out there, and they keep it like really basic. And that's kind of something that I learned to do. Like if I'm like have to write a song for like another artist, then like the first thing I'm thinking is kind of like, okay, how do I keep it simple? What would Blink-182 is a good example. Like what would they do? Right.
So okay. To borrow from the great Mark Maron, who are your guys in skate punk other than Blink-182?
Wait, well, who are my guys in skate punk? Because that was something Mark Maron says.
He's always like, who are you guys? But I think he means like comedy people, maybe.
That sounds fucking terrible. My guys would be Propagandhi is absolutely my favorite punk rock band, which I thought you being Canadian would know more about that. But
well, I think you're at a crossroads in your life right now, and you have to pick between me or Sam. And so if you would have spoken to Sam, it would have been about Propagandhi the whole time. But then we wouldn't have been able to talk about the internet or Drew or posting.
I'm going to take over Propagandhi. Honestly, has shaped the way that I perceive like politics. John K. Sampson, like he ended up being in The Weaker Than, is my favorite lyricist of all time. I'm going to take Drew every day.
Okay, Propagandhi. And what's your NoFX that you're into?
No Effects would be for us. It was when the album "So Long and Thanks for All the Shoes" came out. It was that album and The Decline, and whatever album had what was it? Linoleum. That's obviously like the pop punk kids anthem. It's one of the top pop punk songs ever. So Linoleum, So Long, Thanks for All the Shoes, and The Decline, which is phenomenal. And I still listen to The Decline, especially like politically. I listen to Propaganda politically because it's still lockstep with everything that's happening. And I'll listen to The Decline, even though I think they're kind of. I think that I don't think they're as like down for the cause as Propaganda.
Fat Mike is definitely with her, still with her, I think. But
was he with that? That's what I'm saying. He always seemed like I always was like I always thought it was a little. Anyways,
but they were correct when they said that we're living in a greedyocracy. So.
Is that I always thought it was mediocrity, which was like also a reference to the media.
Maybe I think he says greedyocracy. I'm pretty sure.
Greedyocracy. Yeah, I think he does. I think he says greedyocracy. Fuck, I listened to. I'm gonna blast it while I'm making dinner tonight.
Oh, me too. There's an orchestral version of it. Oh my, actually, okay, never mind. This is more for the DMs, but I made some skate punk mixtapes a couple years ago. I got to send to you. You're gonna love them.
I would love that. My other guys would be. What else would they be? Oh my god! I feel like Tom Cruise now talking about talking to Oprah. Have you seen that video I posted? It's so amazing. If anyone has any time to watch Oprah go over to Tom Cruise's house and talk to him, he goes, "This is the living room. It fits 18 to 20 people." It's like nothing personal about him at all. And she's like, "What do you guys do?" He's like, we watch movies and we watch sports. So yeah, like I listen to punk. Just so many bands, so many good bands. Oh, it's really hard to pick.
Did you see Tom Cruise, his video today or yesterday of him going to see Tenet in a theater?
No, I refuse because that sounds fucking bad shit.
It's ridiculous. It's like they're like filming the movie on a cell phone too, and he's in like a crowded theater with a bunch of people, and he's like, "I loved it." It's really good.
Wait, but there were people in the theater?
Yeah, like he goes to like a packed theater, and it's like this weird. It almost seems like an art film because it's so badly edited. Tom Cruise.
I can't. I'm gonna watch that right after this video. My other pop punk. I don't like. I've got other pop punk bands. I swear.
That's okay.
They're all in my phone.
That's a list that you made for this.
I'm looking through recently downloaded music on iTunes because I have been in a pop punk phase lately. Collective Soul. No, not Collective Soul.
Collective Soul was my first CD, I think, that I ever bought. The blue one.
Was it? I recently downloaded that.
What's that? Does that even have a name? Is it their blue album?
Let me go back to it. It was called Collective Soul. It was their
Wait,
blue album.
We need to. I feel like we need to start like an alternative rock podcast together. But now that we've said blue album, I'm curious. Like, what's your feeling about Weezer?
So Weezer was initially the first band that I was ever into. Weezer's the reason why I got into music.
But like, do you still listen to new Weezer?
God, no, never, no.
I kind of love a lot of it. I feel like people are too harsh on them, and there's like always so many sick tunes hidden in there.
No, I mean, I don't. I'm not gonna buy what you're saying at all, and I don't want to talk garbage, especially because like Rivers. But like everybody my age, it was cliche to say that, but the format started because Sam, who is my Sam. You have your own Sam. I have my own Sam.
Everyone needs a Sam.
Everybody does need a Sam. And as I listened to podcasts, I was like, oh, shit. Like, I would be Josiah.
Hell yeah.
I was like, man, Sam seems like he's got his shit together. That reminds me of my Sam. Which I guess makes me Josiah.
Thank you.
But yeah, no, I love it. I'm a wonderful person. I feel like you.
That's true.
So anyway, so I Sam and I met because The first show I ever went to was a Weezer show. My dad took me. It was when Pinkerton came out. It was my freshman year in high school. And Sam from the Format was the head of he ran the website for Worldwide Weezer Fan Club.
Okay. I'm just
Which was
really
run by-
trying so hard not to make this a Globe Hell thing again.
Wait, why? Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, I would like to guest on the Worldwide Weezer Fan Club.
Okay.
I'd like to make my own.
Okay, we'll do it.
I'm already thinking about it right now. I'm brainstorming. I'm totally kidding. Okay. So Sam was the head of that. So my friends and I were like, oh my God, he's so cool. He knows the Weezer guys. I remember us leaving the venue and seeing him like get ushered to go meet the band. And he was homeschooled. So like he was like a year or two older than me, but that allowed him to sit at home all day and update like photos of Rivers Cuomo. But that's how we became friends. After I had my Blink-182 pop punk band, then he and I became friends, and the bands kind of formed in high school and whatnot. And then so we became super close. But yeah, Pinkerton is still probably my top 3 favorite album of all time. And the guys have been nothing, particularly Rivers has been so nice and has always been has come off as a super fan and has asked me to work with him before. I feel like this sounds terrible.
No, it doesn't, because the new Weezer is even better than Pinkerton. So,
I mean, okay. I'm not going to have this conversation. I'm not going to be the Josiah to your Drew.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We got to talk about this. Is there anything else about Zulu that you wrote down? I mean, I also can't remember the song anymore right now.
Yeah, I did. I wrote some stuff down. I'm going to omit a few things. Here's what I had. I want to say I had the 45. I don't think so, but I would say that. Okay. So I don't think I had the 45, but I definitely heard Zulu. I have been not remembering Zulu for at least 25 years.
And definitely that record was
years.
around back then, I feel like I saw it a lot too. They came from Uranus.
Yeah, I know for sure, because you always remember the title, especially as a high school kid. You're like, oh yeah, they did it. Which actually, can I just can I take it back to interviewing you?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, because we're just gonna keep moving this thing around.
We're here all night, baby.
Yep, my kids don't need to eat. Would love to have a count on how many Blink songs are about masturbating. Did you guys figure that out?
Oh wow, no, we haven't. But there is something you may have not gone far back into the archives enough to find out about. But very early on, my friend who makes music as Hot Leather, formerly the username CornFan420 online, very early on, right when we started the project, he posted online that he discovered that Dude Ranch means cum, because it's like ranch from a dude.
Oh my gosh, yeah, totally.
And so we kind of that blew our minds. We talked about it forever. And then someone who listens to the pod, this guy Bill Billingsley, that I don't have time to explain to you who he is, but that'll be fun for you to learn one day. But he went to a Tom DeLonge book signing and asked him about Dude Ranch meaning cum, and Tom laughed so hard and said, no, there's no way we were clever enough back then to think of that. And then similarly, when I talked to Mark Hoppus, I asked him about it. I think I used the word ejaculate because I was nervous and didn't want to say cum.
I was going back and forth between typing in my notes, masturbating or jacking off.
Right. Yeah, it's hard. And that's not a double entendre. And he said no, it doesn't mean that. So that's kind of been an ongoing theme of the show is the death of the author and artistic intent. And even if they don't mean for the phrase Dude Ranch to mean cum, it's around the time of They Came From Uranus, Enema of the State, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. It definitely does mean cum, whether they meant to or not. So similarly, I think we could almost say that all of the songs are about masturbation.
Shit. You guys have done the heavy lifting as far as this, and this has transformed you as a human being.
It really has. I mean, in a very unfortunate way. It's like all these breakthroughs I've had personally and mentally, I can't really explain them to people who aren't in on it because it takes about 20 minutes. So,
I mean, listen, my kids don't need to eat that bad. Like they had a pretty big lunch the last time I checked.
So, but I mean, so I guess you read the lyrics then. I assume Sam and I have talked about them for a long time by now. This is probably hour 3 of the show at this point. But to me, these lyrics seem really sketchy by modern standards. I mean, this seems like it could be a pretty racist or sketchy song, perhaps.
Oh my fucking God. I was not going to touch this. Did you want to see my note on this? Or sorry, would you like me to? I'm going to send you my notes afterwards. You can decide what you want to do with them.
Okay, sure.
But I have, is this song vaguely racist? Question mark. Nah, because I didn't want to bring it up.
I know, and I feel like when Tom's doing that voice, you are less likely to want to call him on it because he's like, he sounds like what the bad guy from Toy Story looks like Sid, or is that the kid's name?
Yeah. Let's you and I not cancel Blink-182 on this episode.
Right. Well, I mean, we've been trying from the start, but it's hard.
Have you
Episode 1, like minute 10, we talk about I need a girl that I can train, being like, it's presented as a joke, but I don't think anyone got the joke, and an entire generation of people really thought that way, maybe.
Yeah. But that was a Weezer song too. I want a girl who laughs for no one else. So like, it was just a thing of the times, and it's carried over to the way that I treat my wife. Yeah, for sure.
Good Lord. Okay, what else is on your list? I love this. Your list.
Okay, so I want to go back to the masturbating thing because I stopped paying attention, and I'd like to point out that I had like the first Alkaline Trio EP ever. I knew
you were a little bit of a snob. I was just waiting for it to come out.
No, I was on Alkaline Trio before anybody else was. Like truly, like I liked it. Like all my friends got Trio tats except for me because, like, it was like you're either gonna get a Weezer tat or a Trio tat, and I was like, I can't. Like one day, like they're gonna like no. One day everybody's gonna get canceled.
So you have neither. You're saying?
I have neither. No, I have neither. But all my best friends that I grew up with have Trio tats.
Damn.
So we were like big fans, and this was like probably like 16, 17 years old. So my thing was, okay, would love to have a count on how many Blink songs are about masturbating. I hope they still do that. Do they still do that? Song-wise?
They try to do joke songs now.
Okay, yeah. So I say, what's their stage banner like with Skiba? If it's the same as always, was Skiba also like that on stage in the Trio, or is he like putting on a new fart joke persona?
He doesn't really talk very much on stage now. And when they first introduced him to the band, they made him wear like a Hurley hat, and I think they were trying to trick people into thinking he was Tom, and I think it worked for a lot of people. But they have these new joke songs that are like really short, and one of them the lyrics are, I just want to see some naked dudes. That's why I built this pool. That's one of their joke songs now. Really, to me, not very funny at all. And then there's another new joke song that's called I Can't Get You More Pregnant. I think it's about like being really horny and wanting to have sex with his wife, and she's pregnant already, but she doesn't want to. But he's like pleading with her, like, come on, you're not going to get more pregnant. But when we did that episode, we found an article that showed that someone did get double pregnant, actually. So that's
wait, you can get double pregnant?
Yeah, like if you're already pregnant, there is a way. It has happened at least once where somebody still produced an egg, I guess, while they were already pregnant, and then they got pregnant. They did get more pregnant. So it's actually a very dangerous message to be sending.
Absolutely. Like, we don't need more children in this world, right?
Exactly.
That's all First Reformed. Did you see First Reformed?
I did. I love that movie so much. It's so good.
One of my favorite, probably the best movie I've seen at least in like the last 5 years. I also don't like movies, so let's move on before we talk about that.
I got to get Paul Schrader on the pod.
Any
other notes? I don't know. I mean, I forget even where we are right now.
I got a really good one. Well,
Okay.
first of all, I did say Scott Rayner all day.
Correct take.
Yes, and then cool guitar and this is a question for you. Is Tom good at guitar? I think he is. That's what I wrote.
I think he is. This is the other thing that I kind of, and you've told me I'm wrong about voices. They don't really change as you get older. And if you quit smoking cigs, you're still good at singing. I kind of just thought that they got worse with age because they're sloppy as hell live and they can't seem to pull anything off. But if you watch like old Warped Tour 96 videos that I'm sure are on your YouTube feed now because of me, they're incredible. They're like sick. And Tom shreds. Yes,
he shreds, and he also sings perfectly in tune. And singing in tune is like live is for that was kind of my driving force in trying to become a decent singer is because when also right after we'd started these punk bands, my other friend took over the whole entire punk scene at like 16 years old in Arizona and started booking all the punk shows. So like there was like a little bit of nepotism and we started getting every single show. But we were going to all the shows at the time anyways. And I was constantly just like, man, these guys can't sing live. And it like carried over to basically like, I don't know if any band can sing live. But then I listened to Zulu today in preparation, a live performance in Montreal nonetheless. And he sounded fucking amazing.
Yeah, I know. And there was so much more jumping around, punk jumps, and like such cumbersome, baggy clothes back then too. And yet, despite all those things, they just nail everything. I don't know if they were practicing more, and now they're just like chilling in their mansions, like swimming in gold coins, and that's why they can't. I just don't get it. Or maybe if you're playing guitar, your knuckles do get a little sore as you get older. I don't know.
I mean, I would think that I'm gonna side with them just being old. I don't even know how old they are. They're probably only like 2 years older than me.
They're like, yeah, like they're. Well, I don't. How old are you?
I am 38.
Okay, I think they're like I think Mark is like 45 or something.
Okay. Oh, which leads me to my next question. Actually, this is perfect segue. Can Mark Hoppus grow facial hair?
I think he had a beard like plus 44 era, and it looked kind of weird. So I think he can, but it's like it's one of those people where it's just like, ooh, this is not correct. This doesn't look right.
Really? You think like just like straight, fresh, shaven face is the look for Mark?
Yeah, he has like a baby face, although it's maybe as he's getting old. I do think he needs to change his look as he's getting older because he's still doing that like really huge Ace Ventura hair that he's always done.
I was gonna say, like, at what age did you stop using hair gel?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Well, I've always been like, I stopped when I was like 15 or something because I always hated whenever there was a long period in my life where I was just like, I'm just going to not wash my hair. I'll wash it like once a year. And then that will be my natural hair gel. And then I feel like I have like lifelong adult dandruff because of that now. But I usually just shave my head because I hate getting my hair cut. So I usually just shave my head every 2 months. So I don't even style it. I just kind of let it sit.
This is okay. This is a great conversation. So you're Mark Maron. You're one of my guys then. Okay, so we do the exact same thing, and we also have. Yeah, I no matter what I do, I have I like bleached my hair the other day, and I was like, it doesn't matter. My scalp is done. Like it's just like there's no hope for me.
Yeah, I use like tar shampoo, and it's really disgusting, and it makes my hair feel like tires and smell like tires.
Yeah. Did you get a prescription for it?
No, I didn't. Maybe I should look into that, but I mean. Basically, I just put this tar in my head every day, and it's still itchy, but there's not flakes. So,
oh, that's cool. I have flakes, but it's not itchy.
Shit.
So I guess you got to choose.
That's how we found each other.
Yeah, I guess you got to choose your battles. Okay, okay. I'm gonna leave. This is the last note that I had, and I think it's the perfect way to end it. This is the perfect way to end this portion of the interview. Right. Listen, I'm here all night if you need me. I've never heard Travis Barker talk. That's fine. That's it.
I could just go down a 45-minute diatribe right now from that, but I'm too excited to talk about the next thing, so I'm going to leave it there. We'll have you on again sometime.
Does he know? Does he? I just feel like he has 3 words. I think he's got more. I think he's got more symbols than he has words in his vocabulary.
More like drum cymbals or like wingdings
yes,
on a computer?
more drum. I think he's got more drum symbols than he has words in his vocabulary.
Well, I did read his book, so he definitely.
I mean, we all have. He might have a ghostwriter.
He does.
He's got a social media guy.
You never watched his reality show, Meet the Barkers?
I watched. There was something on MTV probably like 20 years ago, or not 20. Well, yeah, like basically 20 years ago. I don't think I watched any of it. No.
Oh. Well, yeah, you're right to assume that he's very stoic, but he just takes it all out in his drumming, which I've described before as it sounds like he's loading a dishwasher all the time underneath like a quiet song. It'll just be like all this crackling. And I made a fake Blink song once. We did like a fake leak of their new song, and I put it on our YouTube. And instead of a drum track, I just put actual like audio recordings of people loading dishwashers, and it sounded exactly like it.
Yeah, that was that. Okay, I really don't. It's like also I just want to say I'm talking shit about Blink, and I love Blink. There are like 4 albums that mean like the world to me, and by all accounts, it seems like Mark is like a pretty phenomenal dude. So I'm not going to talk shit that much. All I'm going to say is, Mark, if you're listening, please start singing in a higher register, and if you need me to help you do that, I would gladly do it because he's got such a good voice when he sings in a high register. But where was I going to go after that? Like after apologizing for all this
I
shit
think you're
going to
say more things about Travis's drumming.
Oh yeah, I mean, it seemed like they were getting into the emo thing at the time when Travis came in, and they started doing like the breakdowns, and they're playing like the arpeggiated guitar and the bass and stuff like that. And that was always my least favorite part about bands like Mineral and stuff like that, is they'd constantly like take all that nice like space that the guitar is using and go like, like, and it's just so fucking annoying.
Right. Yeah.
Like what was their like Suicide's Adam song? I was just like, yeah, man, this would be actually like an amazing beat if you took away all the cymbals.
It's all those splash cymbals. Yeah, it's like the little cymbals are so gross sounding.
Yeah, cymbals in general are pretty gross. And like I said, he's got more cymbals than words. So let's just move on.
Okay, let's move on because this is already so long. And the final thing we want to talk about is it's so funny. I cannot stop grinning. So Nate from Fun, Nate from The Format, you have come into my life. You talk to me all the time. Very early on, I mentioned to you in passing free punk lyrics, which is a thing. If you're just listening to the pod for the first time right now, about 8 or 9 years ago, my friend Alex and I were bored at work. We started a Tumblr where we would write lyrics to fictional punk songs in, I'm just making sure, it was 4 minutes or less is how long we spent on each song. We put them on Tumblr. No one cared about it for like 8 years. And then I mentioned it on this podcast like a couple years ago in passing. People started turning them into real songs. We released a huge compilation. I thought Free Punk Lyrics was over. Enter Nate. You are currently working on an EP of Free Punk Lyrics songs.
This is true. I'm trying to figure out how to say this. I kind of tried to retire from music like 5 years ago. But I still write songs occasionally. I wrote all the songs, but I also wrote all the lyrics in every band that I was ever in. And they were, if anyone doesn't know my songs, basically they're all just like, we had to stop the Format podcast because it was like, well, what is this song about? And I was like, yeah, it's kind of about being like a fuckboy. So basically, like, if you were to define like my like lyrical genre, that would be it. I have since, married and have kids and like got every, like, as far as that is concerned, and all the things that I ever sang about of being like heartbroken, like that no longer exists in my life. And so I haven't really had that much motivation to write lyrics. Cut to Sam from The Format really wanting to start a punk band and being like, me being like, yeah, I would like to start a punk band too, but I don't want to write any lyrics. Then you come in on a horse with free punk lyrics. And I was like, this is amazing because, like I would like to get political, but maybe I'm not the best person to be about stuff. But like if someone else said it, then that's amazing, and I can use my voice to amplify. Now it's kind of turning into bullshit, but I'm going to say this in like any sort of press release. I could use my singing voice to amplify these words.
The words fuck all rules and fuck all books. Fuck all rule books.
Yeah. Which by the way, like I've sent it to all my because now we've since started a band and we've started recording an EP, but I've since sent it to all my friends, and everybody's like, man, these lyrics are amazing. Like I was with one of my best friends has been like a big hip hop producer forever. And I was playing him the punk stuff, and he's like, yeah, it has this like hip hop attitude. And we're working on this hip hop stuff. And he's like, maybe we should incorporate some of this into the stuff we're working with. And I was like, no.
Oh my God. What have we started?
I know, dude. I swear to God.
I was like, because I mean, obviously we're still feeling it out. This is a new budding 2020 friendship. But I was like, I don't know this guy that well. Maybe he's just pulling my leg. I'm not going to tell too many people. And then you started sending me these voice memos. And then you started saying I'm getting more obsessed. And then you sent me an instrumental for one of them. I mean, it is how many songs are you at now?
Like 6 or 7. And by the way, I'm supposed to be this is also the first time that I've had like a project that I'd mentioned, I think on Jim's podcast, that I'm actually excited about. Like the last few years, I've gone into the studio like 5 times to write like just like a mind-numbingly, middle of the road song. And I'm finally like started working on a project that I'm like could not be any more excited about. And these punk these punk songs I've spent way more time. I don't want to say it out loud because I'm hoping that the artist doesn't hear or anybody else in that world doesn't hear. But I'm really, really I've spent way more time on these punk songs.
Right. Yeah. You told me who you're working with, and it's pretty sick as hell. And the fact that I just feel like this podcast is bad for the world. What's happening to you is exactly what would happen to me in your scenario, where I would be so distracted by this idiotic internet joke instead.
Yeah, but it's not. You know what, Josiah? It's not idiotic anymore. It's turned into something that I'm actually like way, way fucking into. So I'm not even gonna let you talk shit about. I'm not even gonna let you talk shit about these lyrics. They're so good. I'd drive to the grocery store, and my wife would go get groceries, and my kids would sit in the back seat, and I'd be like, shut up, shut up, shut up, and I'd be like singing into my phone. And honestly, what's even more insulting, I guess, to the project that I'm working on right now is this has all taken me a total of like 15 minutes to write these 6 songs. But yet I've spent more time on it than anything else. Like I spent more brain power, at least. I think it's really good.
I do too, and that's maybe what you're saying about how it's so easy to write a pop song. Is like the lyrics are so. I mean, they're written with tongue in cheek, but they seem so real when we posted them. And then you've just made these songs up immediately, and they're so convincing, and they're real. I mean, I guess they're real songs.
They are real songs, and they're really good songs too. And like I'll look at some of the lyrics and be like, no, but then I'll hear like other people that I know be like, yeah, that lyric's fucking. What was like? God, there was one where I was like, I'm like you, I'm laughing at it, and then they're like, no, I felt that when you said that. And now suddenly it's gotten so serious. Like we're sending demos back and forth. We can't get together.
Who's we? Who's working on the songs?
I've got Sam from the Format because Sam was always like. Boy, I'm really fucking talking too much today. Sam was always like we kind of patched everything up a long, long time ago, and have always been on he's one of my best friends, one of my favorite people. But he was always like, I don't want to do format songs or format reunion shows unless we're going to do new songs. And I'm like, no, I like quit writing songs like a few years ago. I'm not fucking writing any like format songs. It sounds like a bad idea. So we like settled on starting a punk band. So yeah.
So this is essentially
we're not gonna be like if for some. Probably not, unless this somehow
hold
like.
So can you say that sentence again? It glitched.
Okay. If anyone is listening, hoping for like new format songs, probably not going to happen. But it could, because this might set off like me being inspired to write music again. But I don't know. It's so much this, and I'm really excited for people to hear it.
So, do you have a name for your Free Punk Lyrics band?
We're accepting requests. I don't like. I'm learning now using Twitter. You don't want to open up yourself to your followers.
Don't even frame anything as a question, or else you're going to get a bunch of fucking awful stock replies.
Yeah, I don't want to. We're going to remain nameless. Okay, thank you, fans.
Okay, well, I'm dying to hear the whole thing. Like, what do you think is the ETA of your Free Punk Lyrics EP?
I'm gonna say in the next month and a half.
Okay, in the next month and a half. But
I have a call with Sam tomorrow. We're doing a Zoom call tomorrow. He's gonna grab a guitar. It's gonna be like Zoom band practice. I'm gonna be. If anyone doesn't know how I write songs, how I wrote basically everything after the first format album, and like, I guess the format, but I hear everything in my head. I don't even know how to play an instrument. So I just sing the melody and know what chords it's supposed to be. And then we all kind of talk about it from there, and I'll use references or stuff like that. So there's No Worship, the song, No Worship. I like just sang the track. I remember even sending you the singing track, which is like funny because I must've been like really excited. I usually don't send people demos of stuff, especially just vocal alone demos. But I was like, this is a NoFX song. And so I sent it. And one of the other members of the band, this guy, Ryan, who's played with me forever, he must be really bored in quarantine because he sent back like an entire song that sounded like a NoFX song with me singing over it.
That was really quick between you sending me the initial demo and then the one with guitar. But now you've graciously given us, we're going to go out with a little snippet of your version of No Worship.
My version? What the fuck? My band's version.
Your band's
of No
version.
Worship.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, if you don't name your band, it's going to just be your name, I think, unfortunately. So
no, it can't. It's going to be social media management.
Right, exactly.
Oh my God. By the way, speaking of which, I guess it might be produced by Mark Ronson, just based on the fact that like last night I was like, oh shit, I got a fresh new mix for the podcast tomorrow. And he was like, let's go in your car and listen to it. So we went into my car and listened, and I A/B'd between two versions. And I was like, which one do you think I should send? And then he gave like a very heartfelt like producer answer of which one I should send. And I was like, I really hope you don't try and take production credit.
Okay, so it's produced by Mark Ronson. It's the first song from the format in 15 years. This is just a little snippet of a forthcoming 6 or 7 song EP that is going to have Nate lose his day job working with a huge artist. I'm so excited. Nate, thank you. Before we go, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to plug? Oh, I know what we need to plug. You're going on Drew's stream on September 1st.
Is this going to be out by that time?
It will be. It'll be out on Friday.
I want to just know what to expect from Drew.
I can't help you there.
Is it just like? But I mean, like, I'm so fascinated. Like, music's cool and all, but Drew's cooler.
Does Mark Ronson know about Drew?
No, definitely not.
I feel like you should explain him to Mark Ronson.
It's not. There's literally no point. I mean, there's no point. It'd be like speaking a foreign language. Like there's it's almost like you feel like you've discovered like the greatest thing ever, and you're just like no one's gonna understand.
So true. Okay, well this is it's been a pleasure, Nate, and so everyone keep your eyes peeled. Obviously, we'll talk about it. We'll have you on again, maybe to do a track by track when the EP is done.
Sick.
But for now, here's a little taste of No Worship.
Our Father in heaven.